That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN.
Such a big
President's Day.
1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
That's right.
You heard about Michelle Trachtenberg, right?
All month.
Did she die?
Only advertising.
Yeah, she died.
Hartford,
Oh.
brand new Crosstrek.
Of what?
Buy for just $24,000.
They didn't know at first. They said natural causes, but I read something that said she had a liver transplant last year, and they say and I think it just
$279.
started
take.
having complications.
Yeah, she was so
$49 a month.
cute.
Or
Weird
buy
looking,
one
but
for
cute.
$27.
Yeah, weird cute chick.
Yeah.
$5. With Proterra's outlet
She was a
pricing,
weird,
buy a
cute-looking
Subaru
chick.
Ascent for the low price of $32,998.
Like, she's the girl
or
you
lease
date
for
in junior
$279
high.
a month. This month, get up to $4,250
Now,
off
you date her in
MSRP
junior
on
high,
select
and then when
new
she becomes
Subarus.
famous, she's
The
like, "Oh, yeah,
President's
stay
Day
here."
sales event every day at
She don't
Proterra
brag
Subaru
about it.
Outlet
She
in
just kinda
Hartford,
says,
the
"Yeah, yeah,
dealership
we
with the
did.
largest
Junior high.
Subaru
Look at the
inventory in
prom.
the area. Exit 33 off
Homecoming
I-91
dance.
at the corner
It's
of
like
Weston and
that.
Jennings or online at ProterraMotors.com. Check
All right, here we go.
this month's specials. Call 888-799-1150 for details.
Hey, yo! Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And it's a pleasure, as always, to be here with you folks on Hump Day on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. As I was preparing for my show today, I got my usual phone call from our good friend Mark in West Hartford, who is the hardest working newsman who's not a newsman in Hartford, Connecticut. West Hartford in particular, but just Hartford, if not in Connecticut. And he and I were having a discussion about the after effects of what we're going to discuss today. And that is, you ever get a story put in your lap and you kind of say, okay, thanks for the info. And you really don't pay attention to it, but you promise to get to it. And then you don't, and it's a slow news day, and then you go back to that story. Sometimes it's weeks, sometimes months. But in this case, it was just a couple of days. Mark checked into the story again, as his friend had sent him, and he watched it. And he said, oh, what the hell is this? And then he got in touch with me. And then I kind of did the same thing. Mark's always sending me something. I'm sure there's something going on. Now, I'll check it out. But for some odd reason, it was insistent on Mark that he said, I had to see this story. He said, you have to see this story. He was insistent. So I said, okay, all right, I'll listen to it on the way into U-Haul. I had about a 15-minute drive. It was only 3 minutes I needed to see to change my entire mind on why this may be the biggest story of the year. And we almost sat on it. Let me give you some background. On February 18th, a woman by the name of Janet Serrano went to a Hartford school board meeting, and she gave a speech. She did her 3 minutes of time. She was upset. She was sad. She worked for the Hartford School District for 23 years and was unceremoniously fired, from what it looks like, from her boss, Leslie Torres Rodriguez. And she showed up at that town hall on February 18th to let people know that what had been done to her was tantamount criminal, cruel, unusual. But there's one thing about Janet Serrano that I have to give her credit for, and that is she ain't no snitch. I would really, really like people to understand that People like Janet Serrano are very hard to come by. She's a mother. She's a grandmother. She loves Hartford. She's lived in Hartford her entire life. She is Hartford. She is a Hartford girl. If you're wondering how I know this, having never met her and just watched her video today, it's because I called her. And I spoke to her for a little more than 20 minutes today. And the only reason why I had to call her, I mean, I searched her, and literally she was right there, first Google search. Like, I looked up her name, Hartford, Connecticut. She was the first person that came up. And when I said that, I was like, you know what? Shot in the dark. Let me just make a cold call. And she answered the phone. And I said, are you the woman who was in the school board meeting and on the telephone? I mean, and talking about 23 years? She goes, yep, that's me. I said, you were talking about this thing that happened last year in January? Said, yep, that's me. And I said, apparently you have a secret that you're holding on to. You've been holding on to it for, yes, that's me. All right, how many times are you going to ask? I said, I just had to be sure. Because this video it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's 3 minutes. It says nothing, but it says everything. And if you may have heard right here on this network, John Silva has even reported on it. Leslie Torres Rodriguez steps down from her position as superintendent of schools. And many people were suspicious why she would do it a year and a half before her tenure was up. Well, I think it's because of Janet Serrano. I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be. But I'll let you be the judge of it. I don't do the talking for Janet. Janet does her own talking. Listen closely, because it applies to the question of the day. What did Leslie Torres Rodriguez ask Janet Serrano to do?
Janet Serrano. Good evening, everyone. I do not want to be up here. It tears me up to be up here. I have tried very hard to avoid this. January 2024, Leslie called me into her office. She asked me for a favor. May, I couldn't do it anymore. I went out on leave. First time in my career, I went out on leave. I was a 24. I worked for Hartford Public Schools for 23 years. All 5 of my evaluations. Had many vacation days, many sick days. I had enough sick days so I can take a full year. I came back in October. In 1 month, I worked in OTM. In 1 month, labor found enough evidence on me to terminate me. In 1 month, I worked for Hartford Public Schools for 23 years. What labor asked me the last day before I went out on administrative leave, what was the conversation that you had with Leslie? A conversation I had with her in January.
If you're missing this and you're just joining, we're playing the audio of Janet Serrano at a school board meeting for Hartford Public Schools on February 18th of this year. To recap, Janet Serrano says in January of 24, Leslie Torres Rodriguez asked her into her office and asked her to do her a favor. A favor that Janet Serrano apparently had to repeat. When I heard the way in which she described it, I asked her in our phone call today, this sounds like something that you had to do concurrently, like you had to do it over and over again. She confirmed, yes. She says that after doing it for so many months, 5, she got so sick to her stomach, she had to take time off. Whatever she had been asked to do, she was too sick to her stomach to continue, and she needed to take time off. She took all of her sick days, all of her vacation days, and she was off until October. She worked for a month, and she was called in by labor and said, what was your secret meeting with Leslie Torres? She wouldn't reveal it. She was unceremoniously fired thereafter. That's where we're up to snuff. Here's the rest.
And all they cared about was, what was that conversation about? I didn't say anything, Leslie. Anything. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. And I was terminated. I tried to resign. I tried to retire. I'm disabled. And they didn't let me. When you retire, when you resign, you take that package with me. They didn't let me. I am disabled. I can't even collect unemployment. That secret stayed with me, Leslie. I never told anyone what you asked me to do. Never. Your secret is still with me. Still. 23 years with Hartford, and I'm terminated. I was dedicated, and you took everything from me, and that secret is still with me. I still hold that secret, Leslie.
Now, Janet, in this video, if you watch it, if you're watching on ReeseOnTheRadio.com, you can see that. Now, Janet steps away from that, and they call the next person. But what Janet does before the next person comes up to the microphone is the part that really bothers me. Because she kept telling Leslie Torres, I kept your secret. I kept your secret, and you got me fired. You didn't help me. You hung me out to dry. So what did Janet Serrano do? Well, because she had been fired in such a way, and all of her service, 23 years, had gone down the toilet and nobody was assisting her, she reached out to individuals. She reached out to individuals who mattered. The board members and one other person. Listen to Janet Serrano's final plea on that microphone.
I did go to the mayor. He ignored me. I did send an email to every person on the board, and they ignored me as well.
After she was fired, before she showed up, she sent an email to everybody on the board. She sent an email to the mayor. When I spoke to her, she sent correspondence to other places as well. We'll get into that. They ignored her. I found her phone number just by going Google search. Her name, Hartford, Connecticut. First thing to show up on the search was her name and her telephone number. Nobody she reached out to bothered to pick up the phone and call her. Nobody. But I did, and I got her on one search. And she picked up the phone and she spoke to me. I asked her, what's the secret? I'm with you, John Beckman. She's not telling. She won't tell. Probably because she can't. Probably because of what she did tell me. I asked her, how bad is this? What you were asked to do, how bad is this? Her exact words to me were, what happened will devastate Hartford schools and the city of Hartford. This is a bombshell. Whatever it is. Now, if it turns out to be nothing, hey, well, you know what? I'll eat my hat. But my wife and I, Mark and I, we've been racking our brains trying to figure out what could this possibly be. If it is as serious as Janet Serrano says, if the favor that she was asked to do, was it criminal? She worked in HR. Did a staffer do something wrong? What was she asked to do? My wife and I are going to go into that. She's actually on the show today. We're going to go back and forth and talk about this a little bit, about what, but again, I can't help but ask, what could she have asked her to do? And why did she have to repeat doing it from January till May when she took time off? What could she have asked her to do that made her so sick to her stomach that she had to leave her post after 23 years, only to come back to be removed? The fact that they would find dirt on her after she said that in a piece. She says that all of her evaluations, she was getting 5s, meaning, I guess, the top ranking in 23 years. She was getting the top ranking. She was literally passing every one of her evaluations. And then when she finally comes back for a month, they had dug up all this dirt on her and then fired her after 23 years of service. And she's looking right at Leslie Torres, and she's saying, I kept your secret. I kept your secret. And again, I'm thinking of a million things. I'm going, well, okay, she works in HR. Was she covering for somebody in HR? Was there a situation where somebody in HR was committing a crime, maybe against a student? That's right. Michael B. is saying HR handles payroll. Right. Was there skimming? Whatever it was it? And does Janet Serrano need immunity? As my wife brought up, we'll talk about that as well. I don't want to steal her thunder. But I'm looking at this going, nobody picked up the phone? Nobody? No one saw that video that was public, and you can hear the audible gasp. If you actually watch the video, go look it up. It's from the Hartford school board meeting, Board of Education meeting. It's on YouTube. It's 9 minutes in, where Janet Serrano comes out and speaks, and you can hear the audience in the background. It's literally scandalous. People in the background going, what? Huh? What? What's she talking about? How can you not? You heard it. That a person would be asked. Some other background. These two women have known each other for 14 years. Serrano considers Torres a confidant. She considered her a friend. When she was dragged in to ask these questions, or answer these questions about what she was asked to do, she stood her ground. At first, she thought that maybe somebody had found out about the secret. Somebody had found out about their conversation. But as Janet Serrano told me, that she believes that was the doing of none other than Leslie Torres. That Leslie Torres stabbed her in the back. What the other side that begs the question is, why did Leslie Torres quit soon after? With 1.5 years left in tenure. None of this makes sense. And look, somebody works in the HR department for 23 years. Somebody works in the school board for 23 years, born and bred, kids in the school. We're talking kids in the school. We're talking in the school and in the school. Grandkids in the school. This woman is woven into the fabric of the public school system, Janet Serrano. Woven in. And she's got something like this serious, and nobody picked up the phone? We all knew what a shock it was. It made news when Leslie Torres stepped down. And this took place on the 18th, and nobody connected the dots? What's going on? We'll take your phone calls. Contact your friends. I think we are only scratching the surface on what may be the biggest bombshell of the year. I really do believe this. We'll take your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-353-9057. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-353-9057, 800-353-9057, or biglou.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 3:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Divers have located and removed a car that went into the Connecticut River in Middletown on Tuesday night. Still no word from authorities, though, about anyone that may have been in that vehicle, and they're still trying to figure out how the vehicle wound up in the water in the first place. Students from the now-defunct Stone Academy awaiting a judge's ruling surrounding a $5 million preliminary settlement between them and the owners. School shuttered its 3 campuses abruptly 2 years ago. There was a hearing set for today. The students were hung out to dry when Stone closed, leaving them with thousands in student loan debt and no degree. State lawmakers hearing testimony at the Capitol today, public hearing of the legislature's Transportation Committee concerning a bill that would lower the state's blood alcohol level from where it is now, 0.08 to 0.05. It's the third straight year they've had a push behind that measure. A death has been reported in connection with the measles outbreak in Texas, the first such death attributed to the virus in a decade. There have been over 120 cases in 9 Texas counties. 3 senior Ukrainian officials say that Ukraine and the U.S. have reached agreement on the framework for a broad economic deal that would include access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. One of them said that Kyiv hopes that signing the agreement will ensure continued flow of U.S. military support that the country needs in its war against Russia. Michelle Trachtenberg, the actor known for Gossip Girl, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Harriet the Spy, has died. She was found in her apartment in Manhattan today. Trachtenberg was 39. She was unresponsive, and emergency medical services pronounced her dead at the scene. No criminal involvement is suspected, and that investigation is ongoing. WTIC News Time is 3:32. Here's Bob Larson with the forecast.
Breezy and mild the rest of this afternoon. Sunshine and patchy clouds. Very nice for late February. High 54. Becoming cloudy this evening. There'll be a little rain in the area late tonight. Low 36. Cloudy, windy weather tomorrow with periods of rain. High 51. Turning out partly cloudy tomorrow night. Low 35. Windy, cooler weather on Friday. Sunshine mixing with some clouds. Friday's high 41. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
From the WTIC 24-hour traffic network in East Hartford, 84 East to the 384 East ramp. That's closed due to a crash. And in Southington, still working a 2-vehicle crash on 84 eastbound between exits 32 and 33 that has the left and right lanes taken out. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. As you know, my friend Phil decided to change his life for the better, and he began a week in 180 weight loss. In his first week, Phil lost 11.8 pounds. Unbelievable. Well, he just got done with week 2. All right, Phil, how'd it go?
You know, Tom, it went great. I lost 5 more pounds. I was extremely pleased. I'm psyched. I had a great chat with the coach. From last week's call, you asked if I had any, increased energy level. Absolutely. I just want to get up and do something. And I do. I end up finding I can get a lot more things done around the house and some errands and chores that I've put off. I get to the gym at least 5 times a week and hit the treadmill. So I find that the energy level is definitely been ramped up quite a bit. It builds upon itself, Tom. You get encouraged and it keeps you excited.
And you should be excited, Phil. That's nearly 17 pounds in just 2 weeks. It all begins with a consultation. Call them today at 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, it's big. Rob Schmidt recently beat CNN in key ratings as millions are tuning into Newsmax. Every night, Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax revealing the truth about Elon Musk's Doge. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern and find out why Rob is the hottest person in cable news. Even President Trump is watching, and he says Newsmax is terrific. Reuters Institute reports that Newsmax is now one of the top news brands in America. Find out why. Just check out Newsmax on your cable system. Get Rob Schmidt with Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and much more. Download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone or home TV to start watching. It takes just seconds. With Newsmax Plus, you can watch our great shows anytime. Go to newsmaxplus.com and start your free trial. That's newsmaxplus.com. Make the switch to Newsmax today.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit. Credit for deciding while stuck in traffic to get a bachelor's degree. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. Students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. Flexible online and hybrid classes start March 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as 1 business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
It's Elliot from Jordan's Furniture, and I have a favor to ask you. Go to your closet to see if you have a like-new, gently used prom dress and drop it off at our Jordan's Furniture locations in the West Farm Shopping Center or Long Wharf, New Haven. That dress will be professionally cleaned and given to a teen in need who might otherwise not be able to attend the prom. Your closet will be cleaner, your heart will be fuller, and I thank you.
The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating and the decisions you make impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you. Here we go. Universe of audio. Odyssey.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
By the way, I just got a message from Mark in West Hartford. I said 9 minutes into that video. It's 19. I apologize for that, for the error. It is 19 minutes into the video. He has also posted it on X, and he has tagged me in it. Just go to Mark from West Hartford. That's how you find him on X. Just go to Mark from West Hartford. You'll find him. And he just posted a video on there. Just fast forward it to 19 minutes in, and you can watch Janet Serrano's testimony during that school board meeting in its entirety. I only clipped a small part of it. I think she repeats the line about being disabled, so I cut that out just for repetition reasons. But that was it in its entirety. If you're just joining us, Janet Serrano, who worked in HR, she worked for the public school system in Hartford for 23 years. She is fired after she takes a leave of absence in May of 24. The reason why she took the leave of absence is in January, she is asked to do a favor for the superintendent of schools, that is Leslie Torres Rodriguez. And in doing so, she's made to do this several times. Janet Serrano becomes fed up with this in some way. It sickens her to her stomach. She just became sick. As I'm talking to her on the phone, by the way, about this, she was getting emotional. So this is a real big deal to her. She started crying on the phone just having to relive it. And how this has affected her. Because it's affected her family. It's affected her home. She cannot afford to take care of herself. She doesn't have a job. She can't get unemployment. She's too young to get a pension. And this, again, a person who's dedicated that long and has a stellar record in the school system should not be fired in this way. And there should not be a vindictive, nothing vindictive should have fell upon her, even after she did what she did for the superintendent of schools. What that is, again, I did everything. I tried to pull it out of her. I said, does this have something to do with the schools, with the graduation rates and the minimum 50 thing? She said, sorry, I can't tell you. But again, like I told you earlier, like I said earlier, whatever it was, she said that it was going to devastate the school system and the city of Hartford. My wife, who's just taken my last name, Roseanne on the radio, joins us as well. That's her official name now, Roseanne on the radio. Roseanne, you and I talked about this, when I got home. We only had probably about an hour to sort of go over that, or at least for you and I to go over this. And a couple of things you said struck me immediately about so many angles. Mark and I were talking about, because Janet Serrano works in HR, was she being asked to cover for a faculty member or someone in the classrooms, right? Like as teacher.
Right.
What were you thinking? Because the first thing you said was perhaps she needs.
I would say a criminal lawyer.
Right.
To ensure her.
Gotta talk louder.
Okay.
I think she needs to get a criminal attorney to sort of secure her.
An immunity.
Immunity, there we go. Because whatever this is, it's huge, right? She was a willing participant, which makes her potentially...
Right.
I don't know the facts of the situation, but it could potentially put her in a position where she is now legally culpable, liable, responsible. So the best thing she can do at this point, I would suggest, is get an attorney,
right.
A criminal attorney.
From what I understand, she does have a lawyer. She said, in fact, when I called her, she thought it was one of her attorneys. So she has lawyered up.
Right, but that could be an employment attorney, and an employment attorney is very different than a criminal attorney. And I would do everything I could to protect my civil liberties,
right,
as well as her employment. But as far as what I'm thinking,
yeah, when you heard her testimony, and again, these are two women who've known each other for 14 years. You come in and. Like one of your girlfriends, they come in, bring you in and say, hey, I need you to do something. She's known her that long. They considers her a friend. I don't know if she considers her sister. I should have asked that. But she does it for her. But whatever it was, it sickened her to her core.
Right. And this is a woman who has children, a woman who has grandchildren. record in their home countries.
What do you think of what Michael B. said about, because she works in the HR department, perhaps, and I don't want to use it, he used the word skimming. I think there's something a little more nefarious if we're going down that road. What if there is somebody who was asked by sorry, I'm forgetting her name now, Leslie Torres. What if Leslie Torres had asked, and again, folks, this is all speculation. We're accusing no one of anything.
It's all just
all speculation. What I'm hearing is, and I'm thinking on the same level as Michael B., the fact that he brought it up. Imagine you are being asked to look the other way on the payroll.
Right,
But that might go into your thing about the illegals in the country. Remember, if somebody is an illegal who's working in the school, they have no social security number, they have no birth certificate, no real identifiers.
Well, you have to think, too, that the school gets credit. I'm assuming this is a public school that is federally funded.
Right.
These are Hispanic educators, which leans kind of heavily to this being a largely minority school. So they're getting a lot of federal funding, right? So the more the more immigrant children that they have on their rolls, the bigger the boost that they get. So that's always a possibility. As far as payroll, I don't think this has anything to do with payroll.
Don't think so?
This is something far bigger. And like I mentioned to you, I think that Torres lady is a middleman. And the other one...
Please elaborate on this before we go to the phones. This was an interesting angle that you put on this.
Well, because what was the girl that got fired? I can't remember.
Okay, so Janet Serrano is the woman who's fired.
So Serrano gets fired, right? Torres initiates the
scheme
actions that get Torres fired.
Right.
Now, whoever Torres was, middling for, they looked at her and said, we needed her, right? You fired her. We don't need you anymore. That's why she quit. They're dangling this illegality over her. And so she said, you know what? I'm going to walk away. I have nothing else to lose in this. I'm not investing anymore. I'm just walking. I think she just wiped her hands clean of it.
But nonetheless, what if this thing, and Janet Serrano said to me that apparently there's another board meeting that's coming up. She didn't have a date on it. By the way, if anybody knows when that board meeting is, Mark in West Hartford, if anybody knows when that meeting is, let me know, because according to Janet Serrano, that is where the big reveal is supposed to happen, or something of that nature is going to be revealed. The part that gets me, again, is a sort of gumshoe journalist. I couldn't be more novice, right? I'll admit, I probably have more journalism chops than a lot of these people who have degrees, probably because I'm inquisitive, and I look at the breadcrumbs that lay in front of me, and I listen to people. Everything about this from that school board meeting says, how do we not talk to her? And I understand this is from her own mouth. She reached out to people who should have said, because of 23 years tenure, her relationship with the with the superintendent, Leslie Torres Rodriguez, knowing this woman and knowing their sort of how close they are, and to hear her give that testimony to her face, you're not once going to this woman, Janet Serrano, going, that was an interesting speech you gave.
I think the reason is probably much more obvious than you're neglecting.
What do you mean?
Torres may have been the middle person for the rest of the board. The whole board may be in on it, and as long as they ignore it, push it under the rug, and pretend it doesn't exist, it's a conspiracy theory. They never call it a lie, but they call it a conspiracy theory. Why? Because if you make someone look like they're off their rocker, they lose credibility from everybody else. Everybody's looking at them, conspiracy theorists. When 11 times out of 10, we're finding those conspiracy theories were actually true. And I hate to be that guy, but you see what I'm saying? I think everybody was in on it. And once they forced her out, the only next loose end that they need to get rid of was Torres. Or maybe Torres was just smart enough to say, you know what, guys, I'm done playing your game. I can't keep doing this. But I will tell you, my theory is that as emotional as it is, and the fact that it's at a school board, the school, children, the most vulnerable, this involves children. I think it might have something to do with illegals, maybe cartels, definitely something sexual in nature.
You don't think any money. You don't think anything related to money. It's the
I mean,
HR department.
When you're talking about the transporting of children for sexual deviance, there's definitely money changing hands. Where that money's changing hands, I don't know. I really don't think Torres had anything to do with that part. But I will say, or not Torres, Serrano. I don't think Serrano had anything to do with that part. But I will tell you that we're looking at children.
Right.
Illegal immigrants are flooding into sanctuary cities like the one in Hartford.
Yeah.
And nobody's tracking 350,000 missing babies right now. It just seems a little too obvious to me.
I don't think, well, that sounds elaborate. I'll admit, a lot of that.
But you're not calling it a lie.
No, I'm not. It's elaborate. It's elaborate. It is elaborate. But I want to say this. It's that only because she asked Serrano to do this thing for her. And Serrano has children. I don't believe that she would put children in danger as a favor to Leslie Torres. I don't believe she would do that. But to look the other way or to fudge numbers or to fabricate documentation in some way that someone, because to me, it screams of.
Right, you never let the left hand know what the right is doing,
Right.
right? So Serrano only has a little bit of information. I think once the whole package is open, you're going to see that her part in it was more of a
I think it's
paper pusher, whereas
Yes.
everybody else was involved in nefarious acts. But I think at some point, with it making her sick to her stomach, I think she may have caught on to what it was.
Okay, but it doesn't, see, again, I'm just saying HR means staff, and I'm thinking, and I'm going for the most obvious breadcrumbs here. Staffer on the rolls who didn't belong, and the school is paying that person. That's the illegality I'm
What
finding.
is the better scapegoat? The one that no one is expecting it to be, HR, or the basketball coach? Like,
Yeah.
who's the better scapegoat in this one?
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, we got to take a break. We're going to come back with more of this. If you want to opine about it, give us a call, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. That's the question of the day. What do you think Leslie Torres asked Janet Serrano to do that's going to be so devastating? I want to hear your theories, and I'll read some inside the chat room as well. All right, we'll be back. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
January through March are the months our weather can change in a snap. 45 degrees one day, 10 the next. Can you depend on your car to start? Don Cusson here. Your battery can fail in extreme weather. So Cusson Automotive and Napa have a deal on batteries with an earn-back bonus on quality Legend batteries. With any vehicle service, we will test your charging system and battery for free. If your battery fails the test, we will replace it with no additional labor cost. Plus, you'll receive a $20 Visa card, so don't get stuck in the cold. Call or go to CussonAutomotive.com.
Cusson Automotive. Do, you right. Cusson. Do, you right.
Men, this is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction, and if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating a low T could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back that flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Northeast Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956.
Hey, is there a way that I could put the calls on hold when
Northeast to serve
when
you.
you're away?
Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
We all hear the radio ads about the IR.
Yeah, you gotta be able to press hold, because if you do it, it come on air. So it gotta be like a
That's
Tom
what I
does
thought.
it. Tom does it, but it's like real quick. It's like boom, boom.
Oh, so what? I have to like
we have
click
a
it on and
solution.
then
It
immediately
doesn't
put it
matter
on
if you're
hold.
sitting in your
Correct.
work
Okay.
or with your kids.
But if you're not quick enough and they say something, then it's on air.
Right.
6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's Reese on the radio.
Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I got to tell you, like, you know what? I thought you guys were huge supporters of me. The woman's on for 5 minutes, and you're already giving her my show. Tim said, "Oh, be careful. She might take over your show." Can we at least have some support? Okay, some solidarity for the host, right? At least a little bit. They're loving you, Roseanne.
You?
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
It's nice when they like you. Let's go to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. Adam is in East Hartford. He's been on hold for a while. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, I got a good respect for Mark, but I hope he's not disappointed when I was at a Christmas dinner of sorts. I gave Mary Faye and 2 others there a kiss on the cheek. I know he's been trying to resolve issues with Mary Faye from West Hartford for a long time. You know.
Yeah.
He's going to work.
So,
But anyway,
what do you think of this whole thing? I mean, it's nothing short of a scandal.
it is, and I think that you're doing the right thing by helping out this lady and letting her have a say. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I'll tell you another part, Adam, that I thought was really daunting for her. She's afraid for her family. That's how bad this is. She's afraid for her children. She's afraid for her grandchildren because they're all interwoven in Hartford schools. And she believes that she will be retaliated against. And they've done what they could do to her, but there are obviously other people who are vulnerable, and those are people who can't defend themselves.
Yeah, it's awful, and keep up the good work. I got to go in this optical shop and get my glasses.
Well, good eyesight to you, sir. All right, stay well. Let's go to Bill in Southington real quick. How are we doing, Bill?
Good, Reese. You know, for her to be physically sick and you know, the way that she was talking and whatnot, and to shake Hartford to its core.
Yeah.
There's something big here, and I don't think it's skimming or anything like that. It's bigger than
You
that.
think it's bigger than that, right? See,
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of my skis because when she said that, I was like, you know, I'm saying to myself, like, how big of a scandal is this? I couldn't help but ask, and I was hoping she would say, look, it's big, but it's nothing that's devastating. And when she said it would rock Hartford,
it's something huge.
Yeah,
it's something huge. She has to, like was said, she has to get herself an attorney. And if she wants to clear her conscience, she has to do what's right and come forward, go to the state police, something above the city of Hartford.
Yeah.
And take care of business.
Exactly. Because again, like if it's that bad and people are concerned about what she can reveal, she might be right about her or her grandchildren or even her children being in danger in some way. And the way she spoke of it, that's what she said.
I mean, for her to say that too, it's like, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. If they're going to go after her family and retaliate,
yeah,
it's something massive.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm very tempered on this, but you're right. I think I'm with you on this one, Bill. I think it is that devastating.
Thank you, Reese. Keep up the great work.
You got it, sir. Thank you.
In your corner.
I much appreciate it,
Radio,
sir.
brother.
You got it. Let's get our first check of the traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing, Mark?
Hey, Reese, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, if you are traveling on the eastbound side of 84 in Southington into Plainville, you're going to see delays from 31 up to exit 33. The 72 interchange. We had an accident between 32 and 33. They just cleared that a few minutes ago. Once you get around that, you're going to see delays again as you move from 43 Park Road up to between 44 and 46. Once again, an accident in the left lane that was there just cleared a few minutes ago. So that's a delay there. Now, westbound 84, a little slow. Bulkley Bridge up to 47. Sigourney, 91 southbound delays 33 to 32. 91 northbound, you're going to see slow traffic now from the Middletown Rest area up to exit 22 in Cromwell. After that, a little bump between 24 and 25, 26. 291, 384 moving well. 2 eastbounds in great shape as you move Glastonbury into East Hartford. Now, if you're traveling into Middletown, 9 northbound delays Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. Again, some slow traffic from 31 in Berlin up to 32 in Berlin. Traveling into Waterbury, 84 westbound a little slow in the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound is a little tight in Cheshire, moving down the Big Hill toward the 691 interchange. Northbound Parkway, some slow traffic approaching exit 59 in New Haven, and South 95 New Haven slows 46 down to 44. Traffic one other thing I want to mention here, 384 eastbound, the exit 1 off-ramp and East Hartford shut down there because of a crash. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Breezy and mild the rest of this afternoon. Sunshine and patchy clouds. Very nice for late February. High 54. Becoming cloudy this evening. There'll be a little rain in the area late tonight. Low 36. Cloudy, windy weather tomorrow with periods of rain. High 51. Turning out partly cloudy tomorrow night. Low 35. Windy, cooler weather on Friday. Sunshine mixing with some clouds. Friday's high 41. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Divers have removed a car that went into the Connecticut River near Harbor Park in Middletown today, or actually last night. The call came in a little after 7:30. Captain David Godwin with the Middletown PD says it was a challenging recovery for divers.
It is challenging, and there's obviously silt, and it creates debris and a lot of muddy water.
They haven't said yet if they've found anyone that may have been in that car. That audio there from WFSB. Police do say there is no threat to the public. State Senate bill would reduce blood alcohol limit for drivers to 0.5%. That would match Utah's, the lowest in the country. Tom Chapman of the NTSB tells state lawmakers on the Transportation Committee that cannabis use is often detected in drivers, but alcohol use by drivers is still a more frequent killer.
And we're seeing a lot of combined impairment, alcohol and cannabis. So cannabis is certainly a problem, other drugs as well. Alcohol, though, still very much our biggest problem in terms of impaired driving.
Now, the committee is also considering a House bill that would require drivers to take a course on safe driving around work zones. Family of Andrew DiDomenico testified in favor. The 26-year-old from Meriden was killed while working roadside for the state DOT last year. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the 2 deaths now have been attributed to the measles outbreak in Texas. Reporter Chris Fox is in Austin.
Health officials in Lubbock, Texas, confirming one of the deaths was an unvaccinated school-aged child who had been hospitalized last week. It's considered the first measles death in the U.S. since 2015. The area has one of the state's highest vaccination exemption rates, nearly 14%. Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb.
You're going to see cases exported into those other states where there's low vaccination rates, and you could see a continuous spread across the country.
The current measles outbreak has grown to 124 cases across 9 counties, 101 of those being school-age kids. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
President Trump says federal agencies should prepare to get rid of more workers.
We have a mandate to do this, and this is part of the reason I got elected. I got elected based on taxes and based on many things in the border, but also based on balancing budgets and getting our country back into shape, and this is a big part of it.
Correspondent Finn Gomez has more.
This memo went out to all heads of executive departments and agencies, essentially saying that they had to prepare plans for agency reorganizations, to prepare for mass layoffs in the next 2 weeks, to prepare those plans.
And Trump has already downsized the workforce by getting rid of many probationary workers. State Attorney General William Tong among those leading a 38-state and territory bipartisan coalition in urging Congress to pass legislation to crack down on organized retail crime. Tong says such crime results in losses totaling $121 billion. In addition, he says retail officials report 3/4 of their employees have sustained violence at the hands of retail criminals. The AG says the organizations are sophisticated, preying on desperate people to steal and then stock products online, thus driving up prices and putting workers in danger. Tong adds a bill in Congress now would provide resources to the state and federal levels to bring offenders to justice. Earlier this month, the State Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection reported overall crime for the first 3 quarters of 2024 was down 14.1%. Violent crime was down 13%. But Commissioner Rennell Higgins says there's still one category that's troubling.
Animal cruelty seems to be up for a couple of cycles straight. And that's, is that a downstream impact of the pandemic, people taking in pets? Is that an offshoot of mental health, mental illness? We don't know.
Officials say they'll be releasing data more regularly on a quarterly basis rather than rather yearly, that is. Higgins, a guest on today's WTIC Brian and Company. Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow down 188 points, NASDAQ up 48, S&P up a point. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that
Woman.
Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of
Here we go.
Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
It's Reese on the radio.
And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm actually just wondering if we're ever going to hear from the mayor on this, because Janet Serrano says in her the school board town hall that she did send an email to the mayor about her ousting, and there has been no response. Her words, not mine, was that she was ignored, which I find interesting. If you're just joining us, and I know a lot of you get in here late, this is Janet Serrano, 23 years in the Hartford School District, talking about how she was fired immediately after she was asked to do a favor by the superintendent, Leslie Torres Rodriguez.
Janet Serrano. Good evening, everyone. I do not want to be up here. It tears me up to be up here. I have tried very hard to avoid this. January 2024, Leslie called me into her office. She asked me for a favor. May, I couldn't do it anymore. I went out on leave. First time in my career, I went out on leave. I was a 24. I worked for Hartford Public Schools for 23 years.
That's the part that gets me the most. Again, as she states there, she had never gone out on leave in her 23-year career. And whatever she was asked to do in January of 2024, 5 months of having to do it made her sick that she had to take leave. She couldn't do it anymore. How's no one interested? I listen to that and I go, tell me more. Mark Christopher's at BPS Traffic Center. I know sometimes I drag you into this, Mark, but you just listened to that audio. What? Don't you have more questions than answers? Somebody says, You worked for 23 years. Imagine this, Mark. You worked in WTIC for 23 years. Somebody brings you into an office in January, asks you to do a favor, keep it a secret. 5 months later, you're sick and tired of doing this secret that you've been asked to do because it makes you sick to your stomach. You don't think that if you mentioned that in a school board meeting, people wouldn't be interested? What the hell did they ask you to do?
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. That in 23 years, you never took a sick leave, and you take a sick leave after you're asked to do this thing? And you don't think it would ring? Somebody in this office would go, hell, even Roland would have said, hey, what's going on with Mark?
Really?
Yeah.
Roland would have said, wait a minute, something's not lining up here.
Exactly. Roland even noticed that you had a cold, right? And
that's right.
He notices nothing.
He did notice me the other day. I was in the building. And
He did?
Acknowledged me. Yeah.
He acknowledged you?
He acknowledged me. So he noticed that I was in the building.
I called him Chris by accident.
He called you Chris by accident?
He called me Chris. That's all right, though. He acknowledged me, though. Well, it's sort of it's my middle name.
Now
Christopher's my middle name.
Is Christopher your middle name?
Yeah. So he's right. But I appreciate he's a guy that doesn't notice anything, but he did notice me that day, so I was happy.
Well, that's
It made my
interesting.
day. Yeah, it made my day. He actually noticed me. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now and you're on the westbound side of 84, you're going to see delays from the tunnel out to exit 46 Avenue.
I corrected myself, though.
At least you did that.
I said, oh, I'm sorry, Mark. I don't know why I called you Chris.
It's not on camera right now, but there was an accident. I did see an accident earlier in the left lane. After that, you get a good ride down to the Bulkley out into Manchester. Now, 384 eastbound, the exit 1 off-ramp in East Hartford is shut down. It brings you down to Silver Lane because of an accident there. 291, 384 looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury into Marlboro. If you're heading into Middletown, 9 northbound delays Harbor Park up to the Aragodi Bridge. If you're traveling 84 eastbound, just a little slowdown between 31 and 32 in Southington from an earlier crash. Eastbound side of 84, some slow traffic pushing down toward the 691 interchange.
I don't know,
Cheshire.
Dorothy.
If you
I
are
don't know
heading
if they would
northbound
be
on the Parkway,
interested.
delays approaching 59 into the West Rock Tunnel, and 95 South New Haven slows 44 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Breezy the rest of today, nice and mild. Sunshine and a high temperature of 54. Becoming cloudy this evening. Be some rain in the area late tonight and a low of 36. Windy at times tomorrow, periods of rain. High 51, then clearing tomorrow night, low 35. Friday, sunshine and a few clouds, windy and a lot cooler with a high temperature of 41. Right out is 54 in Wallingford. It's 52 in Waterbury at 53 degrees in Hartford. This is meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
For quality vinyl siding, the Peter L. Brown Company is your best choice. It's winter, and we need to keep our crews busy, so ask us about our winter specials. Please visit peterlbrown.com for roofing, siding, windows, and doors.
Hi, Eric Hogarth, Money Wisdom. Let's talk about taxes. And what about coming in for a visit and getting some feedback on what your whole financial life is looking like or not looking like? Tune in this Saturday at 8:30 right here on TIC News Talk 1080 and get some help.
Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts about the latest medical news and call in with your questions. Healthy Rounds, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
Dream it, design it, do it. The Connecticut Home and Remodeling Show is back March 7th through the 9th at the Connecticut Convention Center. From kitchen makeovers to outdoor living, find fresh trends and smart solutions to transform your home. Connect with top contractors, explore the latest innovations, and bring your vision to life. Get your tickets now at cthomeshow.com. Step inside, get inspired, and watch your vision take shape. Sponsored by Valley and Aetna Building Products, Liberty Bank, FF Hitchcock, National Lumber, James Hardy, Solar Shield Awnings, Rebath, and Cross Insurance.
Attention small business owners needing funding. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based switched and
Thank
saving
you.
in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-bill.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're taking your phone calls. We're talking about what potentially could be a scandal here. And John Silva, by the way, if this story does break in the next month, I want credit. All I want is first talked or revealed on Reese on the radio. Just a small little note. That's all I want. You may have heard it here on Reese on the radio, blah, 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 whatever the scandal is. Because according to Lori L. in the chat room, she said that the next meeting, Board of Ed meeting, let me go get her actual post here. She says, it looks like March 18th, the Board of Education meeting, their agenda is the school year 24 to 25 is where that meeting is supposed to take place. And again, according to my conversation with Janet Serrano, that's when all of this is supposed to be revealed. So what it is and how devastating it is, we will then know. By the way, if you missed this show and you want to hear the opening monologue, you got to go to Rumble and just follow us on Rumble. And you go to Reese on the radio and you can listen to the show even while it's on the air and you can start from the beginning. Let's go back to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. John is in Meriden. How are you, John?
Very well, thank you. Reese, I'm calling about the tax code.
Okay.
And I'm tired of people saying that billionaires and millionaires must pay their fair share. Not only do they pay their fair share, some of them pay more. The tax code is the tax code. The poor people use it, the middle class people use it, and the rich use it.
John,
It's
but as
there
I
for
mentioned,
everyone to use. In one moment, please. There are no loopholes built into the tax code.
Absolutely.
If people don't like the tax code, then it needs to be changed.
Indeed, sir. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you, sir. Much appreciated. Let's go to next up is Mike in Plainville. How we doing, Mike?
I missed the opening monologue. Okay, all I heard was someone hadn't taken a leave from work in 23 years, and all of a sudden they do. Now, that's
Okay,
all
so
that's
quick
all
break.
I got from this.
No problem. I'll give you a quick breakdown. Okay, so a woman by the name of Janet Serrano, she goes to a school board on February 18th, this past February 18th. She gets there and she talks about how she worked for the school board for the school system for 23 years. She's asked in January of 24, she's pulled into Leslie Rodriguez's office and told to do a favor. Whatever it is, it obviously involves her work. She's asked to do a favor. It's something she has to do repetitively because, according to Janet Serrano, in her testimony, she couldn't do it anymore by the time May rolled around. And in the first time in 23 years, she took a leave of absence. She had so many sick days and so many vacation days, she could have taken a year off of work. She had never done this in 23 years. So she is a stellar employee. She's got all fives, as she puts it. So I guess it's a stellar rating in her evaluation in 23 years. She comes back in October.
Is she white?
No, she is Hispanic. She is Hispanic.
Okay.
She comes back in October. She's there a month, and she gets called and asked about this meeting that she had in January of that year. She refuses to tell what she was asked to do by Torres Rodriguez.
Okay,
After
so
that,
she's covering for the
covering for
superintendent,
her.
maybe?
Yes, she covered for the superintendent, did not tell what she was asked, and then she was immediately fired. No pension, no retirement, no nothing. She comes to this meeting to tell them that, and she's informed the mayor. She sent an email to everybody in the school board, and from what I understand, she contacted other outside sources. All of them have failed to respond to her. We got a hold of this meeting, Mark from West Hartford and myself, and I reached out to her today and found out. And now we're trying to figure out, if we can, what exactly was she asked to do by Leslie Torres Rodriguez?
What do you think she was asked to do?
I think she was asked because she worked in HR. I believe that she was asked to put someone who didn't belong on HR on the payroll.
This is, I don't know. It seems, compared to what's going on, I mean, we find a doctor that was supposed to be teaching at UConn, he's gone for 3 months.
But Mike,
Nobody knew.
Mike, but according to Janet Serrano, when I asked her how devastating of a thing this was for her to ask, her exact words were, "This is going to devastate the school system and Hartford."
Wow.
Okay, so like I said, I would have never brought up the story if I thought it was just some, two ladies with an office dispute. This, apparently, according to her, this is a big deal. And no one, again, like I said, if you would watch the video, and I'm going to play it later for those of you who are just catching up so you can hear it, it's something in my head says anyone who had heard that, if you got an email from this woman and you watched that video, how do you not call her back? We did.
Yeah.
So that's where we are, Mike. Thank you, man. Let me go to James in Plymouth. How we doing, James?
How we doing, Reese?
Pretty good. What's up?
Hey, getting to what you were saying, I'm a moral person. And, if I do something nefarious, I'm going to feel very guilty. All right? Now, the point, like what you said, was she had to take a leave of absence, I guess, after 5 months of being asked to do whatever it was. Well, it got to her. I bet you that woman didn't sleep in those 5 months. It's something I believe it's tremendously nefarious, and I don't understand why, like you said, no one's asking these questions.
Yeah, again, this is, and I wish we have this expression called putting 10 on a 2. In other words, like calling it a 10, make a mountain out of a molehill. Again, all I did was watch the video, listening to it. If you're in that room and she's saying to Leslie Torres, "I kept your secret. It kept me up at night. I couldn't deal. After 5 months, it was making me sick, and I had to take a leave of absence, and I haven't done that in 23 years of service." I'm just looking at that going, you don't all of a sudden wake up one day and become the most immoral person in the world who takes sick leave after 23 years of never doing it.
Correct. But I'm going to say, like you said, that maybe she was paying somebody that was on the payroll. Listen, I wouldn't feel guilty about that.
Right.
No, not even me. I wouldn't feel guilty about that. Okay, fine. I did somebody a favor. I was helping out. I wouldn't not lose sleep over that. What you think, I wouldn't ever lose sleep over that. However, I do think, going back to what your wife is saying, which I thought, it's speculation, but I think I'm on board with what your wife was telling us.
Saying that because of what we know about it being a sanctuary city, there's a lot of cartel activity. And
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's ugly, and I'll tell you right now, if I did something like that to even cover up anything, I wouldn't sleep at night. Not about paying somebody on a payroll that shouldn't have gotten paid. That wouldn't bother me one bit.
Yeah,
But
the other part
this would
the
bother
other
me.
part about that, James, that's the other part that's like, to hear Janet say that she is scared for her family, her children and her grandchildren. That just says,
Imagine.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to break down the city of It could ruin the city of Hartford or the state of Connecticut. I don't know. There's probably people out here that are, you're a good radio host, and
thank you.
You're on the internet, and listen, who knows who could be beating down your doors on the radio?
Hey, you know
in the
what?
next coming
Listen,
weeks, buddy.
you know what? I say it all the time. You know what? They're going to have to kill me. When I see these stories, man, I'm not ignoring them. I'm not here. I'm not on the take. Nobody's got my number. I do my job. I come here to do I come here to do the work, and again, I consider myself, I'm not an entertainer, dude. I'm in the service industry. I'm here to serve the city of Hartford.
And I love it.
Thank
Dude,
you, man.
You got cojones, and I love it. God bless you.
Thank you, man. God bless you. Let's go to Dave in Ellington. How we doing, Dave?
Reese. So nobody knows what kind of information this lady has.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks it's groundbreaking. It's going to be devastating to the city of Hartford.
Her words.
To the people, the politicians, or whatever.
Well, she didn't say that, but she just said to the city of Hartford.
Well, I don't know. All I'm going is from what you've told me today.
Right.
Okay. But I don't understand how it's such a big deal when this kind of stuff's been going on for years.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that argument. A great radio host and friend who passed away a couple of years back named Lynn Tolliver. Look him up. He's a good guy. He passed away not too long ago. He made that same argument to me once. He goes, come on, Reese, that stuff happens.
It's not an argument, Reese.
No, hold on.
It's not an argument.
Hold on, not
It's
you.
a fact.
No.
It's a fact.
Let me finish. He says
Right.
that kind of stuff happens
Sorry.
all the time. My response to that is that, look, repetition is not an excuse for anything. Murder happens all the time. Do we no longer condemn it because it's a factor of life? No, that's nonsense. We have to condemn it.
No.
So I don't care
so
if this
you
happens
brought
all
up
the
murder.
time.
No, you brought up murder, so death is a factor of life.
Death
Okay?
is.
That's a fact. Somebody's going to die.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
Okay? So someone's going to get some kind of scheme going. Let's talk about Al Capone.
Okay, now you're going off in Dave. You're going off in the weeds. You're going off in the weeds. That's what. Again, you start going off in the weeds. The bottom line is, look, I don't care if it happens every day. The problem is the reason why it happens every day is the permission to let it happen every day. That's every day. Every time somebody says to me, it happens every day, you're giving the bad behavior permission to exist. Okay? You're lowering the standards of how we live by saying it happens every day. If there can be no account, it continues. That I will never subscribe to that nonsense. Let's go to Dan before we go to break. Hey, Dan.
How are you?
What's up, buddy?
Well, a couple things. The first one, this whole thing, when it comes out, I get this strange feeling that the superintendent's got a friend, relative, somebody on the payroll working at a school,
Yeah.
pedophile, something like that. They're covering it up. You know, if she says it's something that's going to tear apart the city of Hartford, it's going to be close to something like that.
Yeah.
When they finally get it out there.
And
So
what was worse than that is that listen, I don't think it would be that devastating of a story if it were one person. Like if it's one administrator or one teacher that they were covering up from, yes, that's a huge scandal. Of course, if the superintendent knew of that person or knew they had done something. But there's something that says that this is bigger than that this net is wider than that.
It's going to be scary when it comes out, but I'm just looking at it thinking, God, when this comes down, we could be seeing a lot of people fall pretty far up the totem pole in the city of Hartford.
Yeah, I mean, why would the superintendent quit a year and a half before her tenure was done?
Right, yeah. Because if you quit, if you resign, you get your pension, whatever you're vested in.
Exactly.
If you're fired, you don't get it.
And they
The
never
other thing
gave
is-
Janet that opportunity. They never gave her that opportunity.
Correct. Now, the other thing is, your buddy there, Timmy there, who calls in all the time, who interrupts you consistently, and can't listen. When he starts, basically, backing Chris Murphy and comparing him to Trump, just remember one thing. Next time he calls in, ask him about the issue that Chris Murphy did not live in Connecticut for years while he was serving in Connecticut.
Yeah, but that was Mike. By the way, don't confuse that. Tim called earlier about the veterans. That was Mike who called in yesterday about the Chris Murphy Donald Trump comparisons. But still a valid point nonetheless, Dan. Still a valid point.
Because he was living in Virginia. His kids were going to school in Virginia. They owned a home. They didn't own a home here. And when he got caught, he listed his in-laws and his parents' homes as his home address here.
So
even though he
typical.
was still living in Virginia.
So typical. Remember when John
About
Kerry?
that if he's gonna back him.
You got it. Remember when John Kerry did that with the boat? He had the boat in Rhode Island.
But hey, if you can save on taxes, why not? But
Exactly.
Be honest about it.
Exactly.
Be honest. And that's
Exactly.
the problem we have with politicians. There is no honesty with politicians.
Indeed.
Because they want to cover their butt and they want to make their money. But I'm hoping that the Justice Department starts investigating all these clowns as becoming millionaires serving in Congress.
Indeed. Thank you, Dan. Much appreciated, sir. Thanks for holding on. Yeah, politicians. I remember a guy said that to me. He was one of those 5% dudes. He goes, that's why they call politicians, because they lie. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that made sense, but it was clever. Let's get another check of your traffic and your weather. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, 84 eastbound, you got delays 39.
My mom said that about television
Oh, tell lie vision. Because
Tell-
tell lies.
because it tells lies to your vision.
The left as you pass 46, or 44 rather, Prospect Oakland. Now on the eastbound side of 84, if you're getting off onto 384 eastbound, and you want to use exit 1 in East Hartford, you cannot do that right now. The exit 1 off-ramp to Silver Lane is shut down because of an earlier crash. Westbound 84 tied up approaching the Boke Bridge out to 46th Avenue. If you're traveling southbound 91, Hartford delays 33 to 32. Again, some more slow traffic, 28 down to 26 in Weathersfield. Northbound side of 91, sluggish traffic from the Middletown Rest area up to exit 22. And again, another bump, 24 up to 25, 26 in Weathersfield. 291, 384, okay, 2 eastbounds moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound delays approaching the Harbor Park area up toward the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound Cheshire, you're slowing going down the Big Hill. 26 down to the 691 interchange. Traveling northbound on the Parkway, a little slow at 59 in New Haven. 95 South New Haven slows 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8 WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Nice mild weather continues across the area. Breezy the remainder of today. Sunshine and a few clouds. A high temperature of 54. Increasing cloudiness this evening. We expect some rain late tonight, generally into midnight, low 36. Cloudy, windy weather tomorrow, the occasional rain at a high of 51. Turning out partly cloudy tomorrow night, not quite as windy, a low of 35. And windy, cooler weather on Friday. Sunshine and a few clouds. Friday's high, 41 degrees. Looking ahead to Saturday, becoming cloudy, breezy in the afternoon with a passing shower at a high of 46. But then turn colder and windy Saturday night, clearing and a low down to 25 degrees. We do anticipate windy, cold weather on Sunday. A good deal of sunshine, but a high of just 36. Will stay breezy Sunday night, especially early at night. Otherwise clear and much colder, dropping a low of 13 degrees. Sunday on Monday, remaining chilly. Monday's high temperature, 36. This is meteorologist Bob Larson in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The Legislative Committee today hearing testimony at the state capitol on a bill that would lower the Connecticut blood alcohol limit for drivers to 0.05. It is currently 0.08. Car that went into the Connecticut River in Middletown on Tuesday was pulled from the water near Harbor Park this afternoon. The Audi was removed from the scene, but the search continues for the person inside. Divers will continue that recovery efforts on Thursday. Dismissal was delayed a little more than half an hour at Wilbur Cross High School in New Haven this afternoon. Officials say they'd received conflicting reports about a person with a gun. Search of the campus was launched, but it was determined the person had left the grounds beforehand. A group of Connecticut Senate Democrats met today at the state capitol as they pushed their priority artificial intelligence bill again this year. Hamas set to hand over the bodies of 4 hostages later today in exchange for Israel's release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners days before the first phase of their ceasefire will end. Israel had delayed the release of over 600 Palestinian prisoners since Saturday to protest what it called the cruel treatment of hostages during their handover by Hamas. On Wall Street, the Dow, as we switch screens here, finished down 188 points. NASDAQ was up 48. S&P gained a point. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. As you know, my friend Phil decided to change his life for the better, and he began a Week in 180 weight loss. In his first week, Phil lost 11.8 pounds. Unbelievable. Well, he just got done with week 2. All right, Phil, how'd it go?
You know, Tom, it went great. I lost 5 more pounds. I was extremely pleased. I'm psyched. I had a great chat with the coach. From last week's call, you asked if I had any, increased energy level. Absolutely. I just want to get up and do something, and I do. I end up finding I can get a lot more things done around the house and some errands and chores that I've put off. I get to the gym at least 5 times a week and hit the treadmill. So I find that the energy level is definitely been ramped up quite a bit. It builds upon itself, Tom. You get encouraged and it keeps you excited.
And you should be excited, Phil. That's nearly 17 pounds in just 2 weeks. It all begins with a consultation. Call them today at 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-253-6259. 800-253-6259. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-253-6259.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Don't think I forgot about you.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The dumbest thing I've read today, and I cannot believe that it's happening. I don't even know why this is being attempted, okay? For a guy who was the front runner in the 2028 election on the Democrat side, a man who was a shoo-in as the candidate for Democrats. After the Los Angeles fires, he is now in 4th place in the running for 2028. Kamala Harris is in number 1. Good luck, hon. Good luck. But none other than Gavin Newsom, with all of the bad press that he's gotten, with all of the mockery online, that bozo has decided to start a podcast. As if to suggest that people who are, I don't know. What will he talk about? I have no idea. But after criticizing Fox News and anyone and everyone who criticizes him, I guess he decided that he, as governor, is now going to give the message himself, or he's going to do his own publicity. So he started his own podcast. Check out the story. It's at reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. Check out the stupidest thing I've read today. And you can see that story and so much more. Also, Dave and Apple, prepare to unfriend. Their new episode is up as well, talking about school shenanigans. Who would think, considering today's subject? I had a whole bunch of other stuff that I am going to get into. And by the way, if you still want to jump in about this story about Janet Serrano and Leslie Torres Rodriguez, about that scandal, please give me a call. I'll take your calls. We can talk about the stuff I'm talking about, or you can continue to talk about that and give me your take based upon the question of the day. What do you think Janet Serrano was asked by Leslie Torres Rodriguez to do? And do you believe it's criminal? Do you believe that it was just, I don't know. I'm of the ilk that it may have been something that would have it obviously put Janet Serrano's job in jeopardy. But I have this strange feeling that there's some legality or illegality involved. It has to be. Because I don't think that this is a matter of just trying to save her job. The fact that she's worried and she's concerned is one. I'm thinking about that. The one thing that sticks out to me, and I'm sure it's sticking out to the rest of you, as it did with Dan, the last caller. Something that's making her so sick, right? So it's not something she's asked to do once. This is something she's asked to do so many times. And in that, she says, I couldn't take it anymore. And she had to take a leave of absence because it made her sick. That's the part that's ringing with me. I don't know why, but it's that. Like that's the thing that's digging in to my, me being inquisitive in any way, that line really got to me. I don't know. Maybe it's you too. I don't know. I don't want to seem like the weirdo. If that's the part that stuck out to you, let me know. Because a woman who's never taken a leave of absence, always there for the school, 23 years consecutively, had so much good time that she couldn't have taken a year off with all of her sick leave. She could have accumulated an entire year off. That's saying something. And to get railroaded, it's that, the bad guys lose, so to speak. That speech in Swimming with Sharks by Kevin Spacey, The hero doesn't always win. The good guy loses sometimes. It's like to see somebody like that have her life crushed in that way. I don't know. It's eating away at me for some odd reason. We'll take your phone calls when we return. As soon as we get back, let's get another check of the traffic and weather with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford on the eastbound side of 84, look out for a crash now. 84 eastbound on the Hartford-West Hartford line between 44 and 46. Right lane is shut down there. And right now, you're looking at delays back to 39A in Farmington. Behind that, westbound 84 slows approaching the Boakey Bridge out to 46 Sisson Avenue. Southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32A and B. And some more slow traffic as you move between exits 27 and 28. Northbound 91, you got some slow traffic now from the Middletown Rest area up to between 20 and 21. An accident reported there. After that, some more slow traffic, 24 up to 25, 26 in Wethersfield. 291 through 84, okay, east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury and East Hartford. 9 northbound delays approaching Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 9 north again slowing in Berlin from 32 up to exit 34 in New Britain. Westbound 84 a little slow in Waterbury, 25A to 2584 eastbound, some sluggish traffic, 26 down to the 691 interchange. 95 South New Haven slowing 46 down to 43 in West Haven. I'm Mark Christopher. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Nice smile the rest of today. A gusty breeze and some sunshine. Temperatures in the low and mid-50s. Becoming cloudy this evening. Rain will begin late tonight, a low of 36. Rain at times tomorrow, breezy with a high of 51. Turning out partly cloudy tomorrow night, back to dry weather, a low of 35. And windy and cooler on Friday. Sunshine, patchy clouds, Friday's high 41. It's currently 54 in Plainville. It's 52 in Unionville and 53 degrees in Hartford. This is meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Dreaming of a perfect smile? At Columbia Dental, our orthodontic experts specialize in braces and clear aligners like Invisalign. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Choose Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil, formulated for today's engines only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $32.99 in-store only. Limits apply. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Dream it, design it, do it. The Connecticut Home and Remodeling Show is back March 7th through the 9th at the Connecticut Convention Center. From kitchen makeovers to outdoor living, find fresh trends and smart solutions to transform your home. Connect with top contractors, explore the latest innovations, and bring your vision to life. Get your tickets now at cthomeshow.com. Step inside, get inspired, and watch your vision take shape. Sponsored by Valley and Aetna Building Products, Liberty Bank, FF Hitchcock, National Lumber, James Hardy, Solar Shield Awnings, Rebath, and Cross Insurance.
If you're drowning in IRS debt, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. Your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080. I am talking to a bunch of, let's just say, my compadres in and around this subject matter. See if we can get some people on the phone, especially people who should be answering. School board members, perhaps the mayor of Hartford. If he received an email from Janet Serrano, he should have responded to it. He did not. And we're going to find out why his office may be asleep at the wheel. Maybe they didn't get the email. I don't know. Maybe it's in his spam folder. I don't know, but we're going to see if we can get answers or get some people who can get answers. If you're watching on ReeseOnTheRadio.com, which I hope you are, and many people do, and thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. Just to give you a visual of the people we're talking about. So Janet Serrano and Leslie Torres Rodriguez are both on my screen now. And the microphone, the one with the microphone, is Janet Serrano. This was, again, her talking at that meeting, for those of you who are trying to catch up, at the school board meeting for Hartford, February 18th.
Janet Serrano, good evening, everyone. I do not want to be up here. It tears me up to be up here. I have tried very hard to avoid this. January 2024, Leslie called me into her office. She asked me for a favor. May, I couldn't do it anymore. I went out on leave. First time in my career, I went out on leave. I was a 24. I worked for Hartford Public Schools for 23 years. All 5 of my evaluations. Had many vacation days, many sick days. I had enough sick days so I can take a full year. I came back in October. In 1 month, I worked in OTM. In 1 month, labor found enough evidence on me to terminate me. In 1 month, I worked for Hartford Public Schools for 23 years. What labor asked me the last day before I went out on administrative leave, what was the conversation that you had with Leslie? A conversation I had with her in January. And all they cared about was, what was that conversation about? I didn't say anything, Leslie. Anything. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. And I was terminated. I tried to resign. I tried to retire. I'm disabled. And they didn't let me. When you retire, when you resign, you take that package with me. They didn't let me. I am disabled. I can't even collect unemployment. That secret stayed with me, Leslie. I never told anyone what you asked me to do. Never. Your secret is still with me. Still. 23 years with Hartford, and I'm terminated. I was dedicated, and you took everything from me, and that secret is still with me. I still hold that secret, Leslie.
Now, again, this is the part where she walks away. They've called the next person to come and speak. No one's even, engaged her. They just allowed her to speak and let her walk away. But Janet Serrano had one more thing to say. She wanted to say it to the school board and apparently to the mayor.
I did go to the mayor. He ignored me. I did send an email to every person on the board, and they ignored me as well.
So the question was it not worth getting a response, or did they ignore her on purpose? Begs the question, but no one's answering anything. Let's go back to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Fred in Middletown. How we doing, sir?
Hey, good. Just a real quick thing about the value of pursuing this. You never know. You know, it's always the last one that gets you.
Yeah.
There's no weakness too small to be exploited in an opponent, and that could be the one. The thing, I mean, they got away with it, but what the squirrel and the raccoon, Peanut and Fred,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other words, that got more bad press than a lot of humans, you know, who had their door kicked in.
Indeed.
And jacked up, yeah.
How bad do you
And
think
God
this
only
is?
knows. I mean, I don't know. It's some classic Perry Mason who
Right.
killed Laura Palmer. Sword of Damocles, high drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dare say it's got to be the right place for you to be.
I don't know. For me, there's a part of me that's just going, what did we stumble on? Like, I don't know. Like, could this be one of those things? And again, like I said in the beginning, Mark kind of poo-pooed it. I did the same thing. And I said, then Mark said, inadvertently said, let me check on what this guy sent me. And then he hears it and he goes, oh, Reese, you got to hear this. And he was so desperate. He called me 3 times. He was like, you got to listen to this. And when I did, even I called him afterwards. I said, yo, this is big. Like, who ignored this? So, I don't know.
Well, that's the first thing. You ignore a thing,
Exactly.
And then if you can't, then you crush it. And then if you can't, you run for the hills.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Fred. Much
Thank you.
appreciated, sir. You got it. Let's go to Mike in Canton. How we doing, sir?
Good. A few quick thoughts. I was in labor I still am in labor for probably close to 40 years of my professional career.
Okay.
And I had a couple of legal/labor issues along the pike with municipalities. So a couple quick thoughts. Her email and your inquiries and other inquiries not being immediately responded to could be either one, they're considered as just so inconsequential that's not worth it.
Okay.
But my take on that is my gut is, or counsel is telling them this is we're in the holy crap mode here.
Yeah.
Nobody say anything. This is in the hands of counsel, and the gag order gets leveled on everybody unilaterally.
Good point.
That's a possibility. So the other thing is, there's 2 sides to every story.
Right.
And I'm not looking to cast any doubt or anything on Ms. Serrano or anybody in this case, but just I would caution everybody, having been down this pike myself. Everything is relative, Reese. This thing, as she says, having devastating consequences to the city of Hartford and the school board, devastating to you, devastating to me, and devastating to 10 other people.
May not be.
12 different devastating levels, right? So
Right.
everything is perceived differently by the individual. So it could be something that's going to wind up being earth-shattering breaking news, or I highly doubt it's a cat fight. It seems to have some more gravity than a cat fight.
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's all let it level out. Let's see what happens on March 18th, and let's see where it goes before we start jumping to conclusions. And the last thing, and this is just my .02 for what it's worth.
Sure.
If, in fact, this is something indeed that rises to the level of devastating news, and it's going to have significant consequences, my take on it is we're not talking about somebody that was kept on payroll or skimming a few 3, 4, 5, 10 grand to go for a vacation in the Cayman Islands.
You think it's far worse than that?
It's going to be something sexual in nature, whether it's inappropriate sexual conduct with students, faculty getting down in school, whatever. It's the realm of possibilities. My take is, if it is in fact some big draconian issue, it's going to have something to do with some sexual impropriety.
Yeah, you're with me. You're with my wife on that one. That's what she's thinking too. Thank you, Mike. You got it. Thanks, sir. Let's go to Rob. Is in New Britain. How are you, Rob?
The rhythm, the rebel. Reese and Roland Revere.
What do you got?
Let me tell you something. We all need to pray for her.
Yeah.
Because I think, from what she said, like you were saying, it sickens her. I think there's something that your wife said going on with illegal children. And if you add it, the porno that they're putting in libraries. So, I mean, come on, add it up.
You know what's so, Rob, there's something you know what, you bringing that up, my wife bringing it up. If you, and I know you listened to this show, I was talking about this whole thing that William Tong was doing in my interview with Justin Elliker when they were talking about, protecting the illegals and stuff. And then we had that story where the two individuals were extorting like 5 different illegals, making them pay the rent, making them wash dishes, clean the house. There was virtual, like, indentured servitude happening in this home. And you have these 2 individuals in Bridgeport who are being tried for this. And I'm going, we're going to find something that is involving illegals that is going to blow their entire argument up. It's just, for some odd reason, it just happens that way, especially here.
When is she supposed to reveal? In May?
She says at the next school board meeting, which we just found out is May 18th, I believe.
Okay.
March 18th, March 18th, March 18th, March 18th.
Yep, March 18th. Okay, we all need to pray for her.
Yeah, me too.
For her safety and for her family and children.
I told her, I said, listen, if she's got something, if she's got the goods there, the objective now is to, 1, get the word out, to let people know that this woman has this information and to get her protected. Because remember, if it's done in silence, they can do whatever they want in silence. Now that it's out there, people have to watch their P's and Q's. So it gives her a buffer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Thank you, man.
I love you so much, man. I love you and Roland. You guys are awesome. We love the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. He's going to embarrass me. Let's go to Chris in West Hartford. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Reese. How you doing?
I'm all right. What's up, sir?
Great. No, you're doing this is a great presentation you have here. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing I was thinking, first of all, when I first heard this, is you said she had a lawyer, Ms. Serrano?
Yes. When I called her, she said that I was pretty much kind of explaining to her, look, I apologize for calling. I know you don't know who I am. She goes, yeah. She goes, when you called, I thought it was my lawyer calling me. And I was like, oh, whew. Okay, she has a lawyer. So that's when I knew I wasn't going to get a lot out of her.
Okay, so her lawyer, every private lawyer in the state is a defense attorney. So what her lawyer needs to do, all lawyers are considered officers of the court.
Right.
So what he needs to do is to bring this to the chief state's attorney's office, and if there is evidence, if there is good evidence of a crime, and it sounds like that's probably what it is to make this woman sick to her stomach, then it's up to the chief state's attorney to assign one of his top prosecutors to follow up on this,
right?
And to and to get this thing rolling, and that's how it should be handled.
Yeah. Again, I don't listen. If there's a paper trail associated with this, or if it's just word of mouth, like if it's word of mouth, then it may not become much of this. But the fact that what we're hearing here is that Leslie Torres asked somebody in the HR department to do her a favor. I can only imagine she asked her to do something in her capacity as a person in HR. So there may, you know what I mean? That there may be a paper trail associated with this.
Yeah, and it's not it's not just word of mouth, but there's also evidence of something that the former superintendent might have done.
Yes,
and that's something like you say, a paper trail is probably involved there, emails, and Ms. Serrano she's basically a corroborating witness.
That's right.
Who will corroborate the damaging evidence, and so there. It sounds like it's something that's made for a prosecutor.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I every time I'm listening to it, my brain goes further and further every time I listen to it. Like I've got to listen to it I've listened to it 12 times, aside from the times that I played it here. I've been listening to it all day. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated, man. Thank you for joining the show. Let's go before I've got a minute and a half for Jeff in Marlboro. How we doing, Jeff?
Yeah, not bad. How about you, buddy?
I'm all right, sir. What do you got?
So I got question of the day, and I got one other topic.
Okay, go for question of the day. What do you think she asked her to do?
Probably, I'm thinking that the superintendent may have gotten into some legal trouble, arrested or something like that, and she asked her to hide it from, because she's HR, asked her to hide it, from the employer and keep her job.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's kind of seedy. I don't know whether or not it's going to be devastating, but, I don't know. The worst things have happened in a story like that. What was the other thing you wanted to get into?
It's in the vein of HR anyways.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, Tim from Hamden and that other guy Mike called last night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, hear me out. I'd like you to give them a little bit more time to speak.
Okay. I know.
I
know.
want you to give them, because you're only giving them a few inches of rope. I want you to give them the full 6 feet.
Nice. Okay. I promise you. And I thought that I did with Mike. I let Mike go on and on about all the accusations of the comparisons of Chris Murphy to Donald Trump. I let him go the whole way, and then I laid into him after the fact. But, Jeff, you know what? I will take into consideration, give them enough rope to hang themselves. Much appreciated.
Just a little bit more.
You got it, boss. Thanks for the call. All right, folks, we'll take a break. We'll come back. All of you were on hold. Call back, and I think somebody named Melissa. There was a young lady who called. Please call back. I know you probably are, driving in your car, whatever. Call back because I like the new callers as much as I like the regular ones. Let's get another check of our traffic and weather because Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. How them roads doing, Mark?
Well, Reese, if you're on the eastbound side of 84, look for heavy traffic now from 39A in Farmington all the way down to the Bulkley Bridge. That was kicked off from an earlier accident. Westbound 84 is slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. If you're traveling 384 eastbound, the exit 1 off-ramp at East Hartford shut down to Silver Lane. Emergency road work going on there. Southbound 91 delays 33 to 32A and B in Hartford, again slowing 27 to 28. Northbound side of 91, got some emergency road work just prior to exit 21 in Cromwell. The left lane's out. Looks like they're doing guardrail repair there. Delays are approaching exit 20 in Middletown. Behind that, again, some slow traffic as you approach 24 up to 25, 26 for the Putnam Bridge in Weathersfield. 291, 384, okay, 2 westbound slowing from exit 4 up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. Look out for an accident there. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park up toward the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. Westbound 84, you got some slow traffic 25A to 25 in Waterbury. Again from 22, 84 westbound up to the Mixmaster. If you're heading southbound on the Parkway, slightly slow 60 in Hamden into the West Rock. And 95 southbound, you've got delays 46 in New Haven down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Breezy and mild the rest of this afternoon. Sunshine and patchy clouds. Very nice for late February. High 54. Becoming cloudy this evening. There'll be a little rain in the area late tonight. Low 36. Cloudy, windy weather tomorrow with periods of rain. High 51. Turning out partly cloudy tomorrow night. Low 35. Windy, cooler weather on Friday. Sunshine mixing with some clouds. Friday's high 41. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A UConn faculty member has been arrested, charged with larceny for allegedly using university and grant funds for her personal use. 56-year-old Sherry Lynn Zane is charged. The university states that Zane used the funds to pay for, among other things, travel expenses, transportation, and lodging. The trips in question included those to Disney World and Belfast, Ireland. In a statement, the university also says Zane was originally placed on leave November 15th of last year and turned herself into UConn police on February 13th. The university says its travel policy prohibits university funds from being used to pay personal expenses. In addition, any travel expenses paid by the university, quote, must meet the definitions of what is allowable under university policy and IRS rules. Zane is free on $10,000 bond and is due in court February 24th. Divers have removed a car that went into the Connecticut River near Harbor Park in Middletown Tuesday night. And the call came in just after 7:30. The search continues for at least one person believed to have been in that vehicle. Captain David Godwin with the Middletown PD says it was a challenging recovery for divers.
It is challenging, and there's obviously silt, and it creates debris and a lot of muddy water.
With audio from WFSB, divers are expected to be back in the water Thursday to search for the victim. State Senate bill would reduce the blood alcohol limit for Connecticut drivers to 0.05%. That would match Utah's, the lowest in the country. Tom Chapman with the NTSB tells the legislature's Transportation Committee, Utah's limit has been effective.
It helps people be aware of what they're doing and to modify their behavior and to plan ahead to ensure that they're not out on the road drinking and driving.
Separately, a House bill would require drivers to take a work zone safety course. It would also detail state regulations about the need to slow down and move over around work zones. The family of Andrew D. Domenico was testified in favor. The 26-year-old killed while working roadside for the state DOT last spring. Measles outbreak in Texas has now proved deadly. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services.
There are 2 people who have died. We're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine.
Kennedy made the remarks at President Trump's first cabinet meeting. Correspondent Linda Kenyon is at the White House.
The president was joined by his new department heads and Elon Musk, the tech billionaire who is not a cabinet member but who is leading Trump's Department of Government Efficiency.
I do what the president asks.
And the president asked Musk to cut government spending.
If we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done.
President Trump says his cabinet supports the large-scale firings of federal workers in order to cut spending.
I think everyone at this table is very much behind it, and if they aren't, I want them to speak up.
No one did. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Former students at Stone Academy could soon be getting some money back. This after the school's 3 campuses shut down suddenly 2 years ago. A judge was expected to rule on a $5 million preliminary settlement for those who were left out in the cold with no degrees and thousands in student loan debt. The lawsuit alleges the owners misled students about its programs and that some of its instructors were unqualified. State Senate Democrats calling a bill on artificial intelligence a priority for this session. Similar bills in the past have died on the vine, citing concerns Washington won't be taking action on the measure anytime soon. They want the bill to address 3 overarching categories, one of them transparency and accountability in business. Democratic State Senator Jim Maroney cites an issue involving AI being used in the hiring process.
Hiring algorithms. There's a recent lawsuit settled by iTutor. iTutor's algorithm wouldn't hire you if you were over 55 and a woman. You would not get hired to be a tutor. If you're over 60 and a man, you would not get hired to be a tutor.
Wall Street, the Dow down 188 points today. The NASDAQ gained 48 and the S&P was up a point. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Coverage varies by plan, view contract, exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000
Did you say
for
1 minute
blown
already?
engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll
Oh,
have to
damn.
cover out of pocket. You need
Yeah,
an
I know, but
Endurance
I-
Auto Protection Plan.
like the
No
news
matter
just
what the
ended.
mileage, if your car is
I
under
at least
20 years
expect
old,
2 minutes.
Endurance can
There's always 1 minute at top of the hour
Oh,
after
is
the
the
news.
news.
Oh, top of the
transmission,
okay.
AC, drivetrain, and more.
Because you got to go 7 to 7.5. You only get 1 minute.
A mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for
And 10, where you been at?
your free quote.
What do you
Call
mean? I just went to the
800-253.
No, you said only 1 minute. It's been happening since you've been here, 7 months.
800-253-6203.
I was saying,
The
sorry,
hour
I missed it.
that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It better pack a punch. Hey, I wanted to go over this. I want to do this thing called the day late and a dollar short. Can you believe it? After everything that we talked about here on Reese on the radio, the one thing that has always irked me is that the regular news media doesn't pick up on it until afterwards. I got this message on Twitter, and I want to say it was from Trickstep, but if I get the person wrong, please forgive me. I think it was Trickstep on Twitter, on X for that matter, who said it to me. You'll never guess what WTNH covered last week for the first time. And that is the story of Alicia Ortiz, the 19-year-old student who can't read, who's suing the city of Hartford. Yeah, who went all the way to Cook. Yeah, February. TNH covered it. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. They sent it to me, and it was just like, talk about a day late and a dollar short. That was a month short. Yeah, so other stories are doing it yesterday. Did it just today, I should say. yesterday on this program, I said, and I played the audio of Rachel Maddow talking about how upset she was about Joy Reid being fired. And two articles came out immediately. One was from the Free Beacon, another one from the New York Post, saying, hey, Joy, why don't you quit? You don't like it? You think your office is racist? You should quit. And the other thing, and the last but not least thing, on this show a couple of weeks ago when they were protesting in Hartford, you remember, protesting Doge in Hartford, I said on this show, to what Tim was outraged about, I said that they were paid actors. Well, lo and behold, the Washington Free Beacon recognizes that groups like Indivisible, you know, the people who were at Chris Murphy and Dick Blumenthal's little shindig a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. Indivisible is paid by Soros-funded groups to hold protests across the country. Paid actors, like I said. A day late and a dollar short, folks. That's why Reese on the Radio is on the radio. Let's go to Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now and you're on the eastbound side of I-84, look for delays now from exit 41 up to right down to the Bulkley Bridge. If you're traveling 84 eastbound onto 384 eastbound, the exit 1 off-ramp that takes you to Silver Lane, that is still blocked with some emergency road work there from that was kicked off from an earlier accident. Now, westbound 84 tied up, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. Southbound 91 slowing 33 down to 32 A and B, again 27 to 28. Northbound 91, left lane is out between exit 20 and 21. As you move Middletown into Cromwell, left lane road work, emergency road work. They're repairing a guardrail there, so delays are approaching 20 behind that. Once you get around that, a little slow 25, 26 in Wethersfield. 291 through 84, okay, it's the river. 2 westbound slowing, exit 4 up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. 9 northbound slowing as you approach the Harbor Park area up toward the Aragoni Bridge. If you're traveling 9 north, again, some slow traffic, 32 to 34 in New Britain. 84 westbound, tight in Waterbury, 25A up to 25, again, 22 to the Mixmaster. Southbound Parkway, some slow traffic, 60 in Hamden into the West Rock. And 95 southbound, look for delays from 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Increasing cloudiness tonight. A bit of rain moving in the area late tonight, low 36, then cloudy, windy at times tomorrow with occasional rain. Tomorrow's high 51, becoming partly cloudy. Tomorrow night, low 35. Some sunshine, windy and cooler on Friday with a high of 41. Right now it is 51 in Meriden. It's 50 in Bristol and 52 degrees in Hartford. This is meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
Looking for better propane savings and services for your home? Go with your local propane pros at Petro. Switch now and get up to $500 free propane. Go to petro.com now or call 877-399-8395 today. Propane not available in all areas.
Drinking water is supposed to be odorless and colorless. If yours isn't, it probably doesn't taste good either. Joe the Plumber will test your water, then recommend the right water treatment systems or filter. That's something we can all raise a glass to. Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
For quality vinyl siding, the Peter L. Brown Company is your best choice. It's winter, and we need to keep our crews busy, so ask us about our winter specials. Please visit peterlbrown.com for roofing, siding, windows, and doors.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at
textline.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data. Like stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text LINE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text LINE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text LINE to 200-300. That's LINE to 200. LINE to 200-300.
Reese on the radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it.
Reese on the radio. He says that every time in my ear. Drop it. And he makes me laugh every time he does it. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Let's go back to the phones because I know there's so many people who want to chime in here on this story. I'll get into some of the other news of the day while we have time. But let me quickly say, you want to win a cruise on the Disney Destiny Cruise Liner, you've got to download the Odyssey app. It is a cruise for four. You download the app, you register your name and your information, and you got to listen for 1 hour a day on the Odyssey app. That's 1 hour a day, each day, 7 days a week, in order for you to have your name entered into a chance to win that Disney Destiny Cruise. And don't forget, our last but not least caller of the day is going to win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Manchester, and Vernon. All right, now let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Corey, who's in Meriden. How we doing, sir?
Hey, not bad, man.
Hey, what's up?
Connecticut. It seems like Connecticut's got a target on its back in the past 2 days.
Oh, it's been insane. I mean, it's all over the place. And it's crazy that it just happens in the state. And the news media, if it's crazy, Corey, if there's anything I could say about it is I feel like the state is so insulated from anywhere else, the fact that media won't cover some of these stories, that people kind of get away with it, if you get my meaning.
I actually fully agree with you. I mean, obviously, like you were saying, like the news picks it up a week after they, quote, vet it, or they wait and ask the Lamont administration, hey, can we report on this? I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, and it's not like we don't know. What was funny, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, and I apologize for that. I was watching James O'Keefe recently, and he had this undercover video of Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A. I don't know if you got a chance to watch this. But he got an undercover audio of her talking to one of her constituents, I guess before the fires had taken place or whatever it was. And he got that audio and he sent it to the Fox affiliate in Los Angeles. He got text messages. He found this text messages internally inside the newsroom that said that they didn't want to report on the story. They were hesitant because they didn't want to lose access to Karen Bass's office.
You know, I did watch that video, and shame on her, because that's going to be a big story in the next week, because he's releasing more info on that one, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But dealing with that, I mean, we're dealing with, not to throw out news outlets here, but like Fox 61 does the same thing here in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And the scarier part is there's two things like here in Connecticut, health-wise. I was scrolling through Twitter just a little while. You said Trix. I think he actually posted this earlier.
Yeah.
Was that Tim Pool posted a link about an hour or two ago about the COVID vaccines.
Yes.
And I didn't realize what he was trying to say in that. And then I scrolled down in the picture, and this is the same Yale scientists that were backing Lamont pushing the vaccine up in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
They're now saying that they're attributing bone loss or some sort of degenerative disease. I mean, I don't have his stuff pulled up right now, but the article is basically stating that now they're contributing that there's something that's denigrating the bones in people that got the shot. And I'm like, what? And I just feel like everything here on this state here is the exact opposite of public health. And one of the main reasons, I apologize, I'm going off topic today. But,
no, it's cool.
Kate Prokup, who I think runs CC Ram up here in Connecticut, she had published a thing this morning urging, let's see here, I got the bill. the national HHS just recommended taking fluoride out of every water system in the nation, right?
Yeah, something that they were calling a conspiracy theory just years ago.
Absolutely, and I've contacted Meriden. I've contacted a few places, and this level is very high. I urge everybody don't just go get a pure water filter. Get like an Alexa Pure or something if you're drinking any of this tap water. But apparently, this is a month after they said to pull it out nationwide. Here we are. It looks like the Democrats in Connecticut, what is it, SB 1326. You know what they did? They want to increase water fluoridation in the state of Connecticut, and it was just proposed. And I'm like, are these people trying to hurt everybody? Now, it is very apparent that there's something wrong with these people's heads up at Hartford.
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. And you know what? It's almost, what do you call it? Simsbury Joe he was one of the first guys who I started listening to, and I was going, wow, that guy seems a little bit, like really, really out there. But then as you go on, and I'm saying, okay, now I'm listening to this guy, and wait a minute, all of a sudden, he's the guy who's actually in the forefront of all of this. And I'm going, he's not a crackpot. He's not. And this guy seems to be at the forefront, like he's ahead of the curve every time. That's why, again, I revere that man right now. He's got to do a show. I'm sorry, Joe. You got to do a show. You just have to.
I mean, I wish me and him could hook up. We have a blast with you one day, just do almost like in studio sort of style. Because I mean, even him and I going back to the day, Pastor Will, if he's even listening right now, I encourage Joe to call in. But a lot of the stuff that's all been being discussed and poo-pooed over the past few years, it seems like it's coming to the forefront every day.
And
now.
To find out that they're actually want to add fluoride to the water after everything that we've learned, it's like they're living in a different world, and the outside world doesn't exist. Like they're living in some sort of bubble. Hey, how can we screw up the state even more?
Yeah, well, everybody's got to pull out their little pins and pop the bubble on their own local level. And I think that is starting to happen in Connecticut at a very fast pace. And that's what the most encouraging part about it is.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, sir. I don't mind you taking me off topic. You guys are worth it. Let's go to Steve in Andover. How are you, sir?
Hey, good afternoon, Reese. Hey, a couple things that I haven't heard discussed yet.
Yes.
One, what exactly did she get fired for?
Yes. She didn't explain that.
I haven't heard anybody mention that.
Yeah, well, she didn't explain that. And that I will actually take the L on that. But according to her testimony, she said that they dug up dirt on her. So according to her track record, according to her evaluation, she was making this very clear. Her evaluation, she was getting 5s. Now, I guess that's inside baseball, but I can only assume, because she kept, touting it, that getting a 5 on your evaluation is saying that she had impeccable, references.
Work credentials.
Yeah, exactly.
Work credentials.
Yeah, her work credentials were at a 5. She was always passing her evaluations for a good 23 years. So they said that when she's gone, she goes from May to October, she's out of the office. And I think that's what sparks this. If we're playing, Encyclopedia Brown here, she can't do this favor for Rodriguez anymore. She takes a leave of absence in May. She gets back in October. She's there a month. And they inconspicuously come up with all of these infractions of hers. They dug up all this dirt on her that leads to her termination after all of these evals that have given her top grades. So that's where the suspicion comes in. So she didn't explain what this evidence was that they found, but that's what she says prompted this. So we would have to go back and we would have to see the records of her, her employment records to find out if indeed what she's saying is true. Did she get these evaluations? Yes, Lori's telling me, and I'm assuming Lori's a school teacher. Lori says that a 1 through 5 is the score. So 5 meaning the best. So she was getting 5s. And
well, I mean, the Supreme Court has ruled that if you've got policies in place and they are routinely ignored in a municipality, then it's as if those policies don't exist. So if she's getting 5s, right, she's not violating policies. Otherwise, those would be documented.
Right.
And she'd be getting 4s and 4.8 and 4.6 and whatever else kind of stuff they do. So right there. So that's super suspicious to me. I'm trying to figure out where the spin on that goes.
Yes.
But here's the second thing. She works for a board of ed.
Mm-hmm.
She is a mandated reporter under DCF and state law.
Very true.
If she knows, and you guys are suspecting things about maybe sex with kids or child sex trafficking, if she knows any of these kinds of things are going on,
right,
she's a mandated reporter.
Indeed.
She has committed crimes by not reporting those. You know what I mean? So she can be held on the civil and the criminal side, right, for not reporting things that she knows. If in fact this has to do with children, which I've heard some of you guys are
speculating that. Yeah, well, that again, the only reason why I push back on that, though, Steve, let me tell you why. My wife is in that area, but I don't want to disparage her, but as a woman and as a mother, everybody goes in that direction immediately. And I know why, because it's a school and it's commonplace. It's sort of the same deal with the Catholic Church. Everybody goes to that. I get the reasoning for it. I'm not saying it's warranted or it isn't warranted, but I understand it. What I'm saying, the reason why I was hesitant there was because I'm thinking of this level, and you tell me what you think about it. You're the superintendent of school. Out of anyone she could have asked for this favor, she went to somebody in HR. So whatever it was something that HR was able to facilitate.
And cover up.
Yes. So I'm thinking it had to do with someone's employment, a staffer, a teacher, whatever it was. Whatever she was doing, was it to fudge numbers? Was it to fake a person's status, like in essence to say this person, even though they're not eligible to work here, they can work here, or give like sort of money laundering or in some sort of, I don't know, but it's HR related, which gives me that pause on whether or not it's sexual in nature.
Well, the only sort of water I'd cast on your fire on this one is, unless she's of very weak backbone stature, and it doesn't sound to me like she's like that in listening to her, why would that bother you enough over a 5-month period where you're literally physically sick to your stomach and need to take time off?
Good point.
You know what I mean?
Good. No. And that's why it brought, listen to me, that's the reason why everybody who's brought it back to that sort of says, yeah, but because I went there too with Mark. Mark and I were discussing this and going, but why would she say that it made her sick to her stomach? And then we started to go, well, maybe it was something sexual in nature. I'm like, because only if you're a mother and a grandmother, if it made you sick to your stomach, then maybe there is a cover up on that level. And Mark and I were kind of going, oh, you can't help but ask.
Right, because at that point, the mama bear gene kicks in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so you got to say to yourself, well, wait a minute, what's down this rabbit hole that we may not really want to know? So this thing is so twisted and convoluted at this point. Like I said, I just wanted to bring up those couple points. For you.
Steve, I'm so glad you called, man. Thank you, because again, like my head is spinning, and I guess me being either inquisitive or nosy, I can't help but be curious about it. Thank you, man. I appreciate the time.
Yep. See ya.
You got it. Let's go to, speaking of the aforementioned, Mark in West Hartford. How we doing, buddy?
Hey, good. So during the show, your wheels are always going and moving.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, I know what she said about, and I'm sure she was sickened. Whatever she did, obviously it looks genuine, it looks authentic, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the one thing, what does a leave of absence do also at the same time? It takes her out of the game.
That's
because
right.
She mentioned this is an ongoing thing. She's done this multiple times, whether it's 2 or 10, it doesn't matter. It seems like she was asked to do whatever it is multiple times.
Right.
Here's the big question, Reese. Who made her comfortable enough to come back to work and have this immediately go into termination? So was she set up by multiple friends within this entity at the BOE? Was it Leslie herself?
Mm-hmm.
But think about that. She takes this leave, and if she's that dialed in after 20, believe me, I know the city of Hartford, you would think she'd be dialed in 23 years in that system. Someone would say, don't come back in here. You better take a leave of absence. You better not. Who made her comfortable enough to go back?
She's got 5 months out of the way. Think about that, though. She's got May till October. She takes this leave of absence. She's not at work. And she said she's there a month and they have all of this evidence on her. I'm thinking, do you think somebody goes into her record and starts dirtying up the works, so to speak? Because that's what she said. She goes, out of nowhere, they get all of this stuff on, this dirt on her.
You can always find something wrong, right? I mean, that's the old, you can find something wrong with your show all day long, even though you thought you had a good show. I mean, you can always go back. So, yeah, somebody could have found something to get her on, but who brought her back?
Yeah.
I would love to be able to ask her that question. Who made you that comfortable to come back? Because you know what you left.
Well, I think after today, I think that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to make inquiries. And you know what? I'm going to see if I can make that inquiry, see if I can have an update tomorrow. Because I told her to listen. She's been listening all day. So I expect her to at least to answer that. I'll ask her. In fact, if she's listening now, Janet, I am going to ask you that. Thank you, Mark. Let me take a break.
Yeah,
you got it. Let's get back to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher and get your traffic. How we doing out there, Mark?
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, look for delays 43 Park Road down to the Bulkley Bridge. Westbound 84 tied up approaching the Bulkley to 47 Sigourney. Now, 91 southbound Hartford delays 30, approaching 33 down to 32 A and B, and again 27 to 28. Northbound 91 got delays now Middletown into Cromwell. We have left lane emergency road work just prior to exit 21 in Cromwell. Delays are back to exit 20 Country Club Road behind that state to the right there. After that, a little slow traffic as you move up on the Putnam Bridge at 25-26. If you're traveling 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 westbound, look out for an accident right at the 84 west ramp. 3 vehicles on the right shoulder there slowing you down a little bit. 9 northbound, Middletown's tied up. Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound in Cheshire slowing 26 to 25 in Waterbury. Again, 22 in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. If you're heading southbound in the Parkway, delays 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. South 95, New Haven, tied up 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Tonight, becoming cloudy with a little rain late and a low of 36. Tomorrow, windy with periods of rain and a high of 51. Winds south 12 to 25 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy with a low of 35. Friday, partly sunny, windy, and cooler with a high of 41. Winds west to northwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Friday night, snow and flurries at times with little or no accumulation, low 24. Saturday, cloudy, breezy in the afternoon with a passing shower, high 46. Winds southwest 10 to 20 miles per hour. Saturday night becoming clear, we'll see a low of 25. Sunday, mostly sunny and windy, high 36. Winds northwest 12 to 25 miles per hour. Sunday night, breezy in the evening, otherwise clear and colder, low 13. Winds northwest 8 to 16 miles per hour. Monday, plenty of sunshine. We'll see a high of 36. Monday night, mainly clear, low 21. This is Jillian Ford in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Divers have located and removed a car that went into the Connecticut River in Middletown Tuesday night. Still no word from authorities, though, about the person that was in that vehicle. They're still trying to figure out how the vehicle wound up in the water in the first place. A UConn faculty member is facing charges after she was accused of using grant and other funds for personal expenses. The university says Sherry Lynn Zane used that money for multiple trips to Disney World and Belfast, Ireland. Students from the now-defunct Stone Academy awaiting a judge's ruling surrounding a $5 million preliminary settlement between them and the owners. The school shuttered its 3 campuses abruptly around this time 2 years ago. There was a hearing set for today. Students were hung out to dry when Stone closed, leaving them with thousands in student loan debt and no degree. State lawmakers hearing testimony at a public hearing today. It concerns a bill that would lower the state's blood alcohol level from where it is now, 0.08 to 0.05. Death has been reported in connection with that measles outbreak in Texas, now 2 deaths actually, attributed to the virus for the first time in a decade. And 3 Ukrainian officials say that Ukraine and the U.S. have reached agreement on the framework of a broad economic deal, which would include access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. One of them says that Kyiv hopes that the signing of the agreement will ensure the continued flow of U.S. military support that the country needs. Wall Street, mixed bag today. The Dow down 188. NASDAQ up 48. S&P up a point. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. As you know, my friend Phil decided to change his life for the better, and he began Awaken 180 weight loss. In his first week, Phil lost 11.8 pounds. Unbelievable. Well, he just got done with week 2. All right, Phil, how'd it go?
You know, Tom, it went great. I lost 5 more pounds. I was extremely pleased. I'm psyched. I had a great chat with the coach. From last week's call, you asked if I had any, increased energy level. Absolutely. I just want to get up and do something. And I do. I end up finding I can get a lot more things done around the house and some errands and chores that I've put off. I get to the gym at least 5 times a week and hit the treadmill. So I find that the energy level is definitely been ramped up quite a bit. It builds upon itself, Tom. You get encouraged and it keeps you excited.
And you should be excited, Phil. That's nearly 17 pounds in just 2 weeks. It all begins with a consultation. Call them today at 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
When winter... You can depend on WTIC News Talk 1080 to get you through every storm. With weather, Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center working around the clock to give you the latest, most accurate winter weather forecasts. With traffic, Mark Christopher and the WTIC traffic team will get you around the tie-ups. With news, the WTIC news team will have all the important news updates related to every storm. So when winter weather hits, WTIC News Talk 1080 is your most trusted source for the winter information you need.
Hey, this is Brad Evans from BetMGM Tonight, weekdays 7-11 Eastern. The BetMGM Network is your home for expert sports betting insights, real-time odds, and nonstop action.
And the best time to tune in is right now. The madness of college basketball is heating up, the NBA playoff race is tightening, and MLB opening day is just around the corner.
We've got expert picks, in-depth analysis, and everything you need to stay ahead of the game.
Presented by the sportsbook born in Vegas, BetMGM.
Watch on YouTube, listen on the free Odyssey app. This is a BetMGM Network.
WTIC News Talk 1080 is celebrating 100 years on the air.
Keeping it 100. That's Reese on the radio and News Talk 1080, WTIC. Don't forget, we got the last but not least caller of the day. That's coming up soon. I got all of these people texting me. City Hall is already saying that they're concerned about the lawsuit that's going to happen in the event of this case, because there definitely will be a lawsuit. If indeed there is. A lot of information on staffing, the staffing role of Miss Serrano. This was interesting. I want to read this to you during this break, and then I'll get to your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Now, according to, I guess, the role of Janet Serrano, she is a staffing specialist, according to this, in the Hartford Board of Education. And these are her roles. So again, remember, she's being asked to do a favor while these are the things that she's required, like her job description. 1, recruitment and hiring, actively seeking qualified candidates for various positions within the school system, including teachers, administrative staff, and support personnel. This may involve organizing job fairs, attending recruitment events, and collaborating with universities. Number 2, application review and screening, evaluating resumes and applications to identify candidates who meet the qualifications for open positions. This often includes conducting initial screenings and interviews. Number 3, onboarding, facilitating the onboarding process for new hires, ensuring that they have the necessary training, resources, and support to start their positions effectively. And there's more. 4, compliance with policies, ensuring that hiring practices comply with the local, state, and federal regulations. Collaboration, working closely with school administrators and department heads to understand staffing needs and development. Data management, maintaining databases and tracking systems related to staffing. 7, staffing analysis, assessment, current staffing levels, and making recommendations to address shortages. 8, supporting and training, providing support to staff regarding hiring procedures, employment policies, and professional development opportunities. The specific duties and focus areas may vary based upon the needs of the Hartford Board of Education and the educational landscape within the district. So I know that's a lot to ingest, but again, look, I don't get to always be right just because I say that I am. Just something is needling me. It just is. And as much, like I said, the low-hanging fruit, and if it turns out I'm wrong, I know everybody's going to say, it's like, see, Reese, we told you. I'll take that. I'll take the L on that. Okay, and again, it's warranted. No matter what it is, I mean, it ain't about whether or not I got it right. It's about the fact that this needs to be exposed. But there's something else, and I don't know why, but it's eating at me. I'm like that ridiculous detective you see in the movie. It's just going, no, it's just too clean. It's too clean. And I'm looking at her role, and I'm looking at the superintendent. Why does she go to her? Why? Something is going on. And I know somebody's saying it's like it's small, it's skimming. I don't think it's small. I think it's something dirtier. I do. But not just sex. Something dirtier. I don't know. We'll get into that. I want to talk about the cannibal. Maybe I will talk about the cannibal tomorrow. I'm not going to get into it today. I know it. I'm not. We'll take your phone calls when we return. Now let's get another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, good afternoon. If you're 84 eastbound coming into downtown Hartford, you're going to see delays now 43 Park Road down to the Bulkley Bridge. Westbound 84 is a little tight approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney Street. Northbound side of 91, Middletown into Cromwell between 20 and 21. Emergency road work in the left lane there. Stay right. Looks like guardrail repair after that. Just a little slow up by 25-26 in Wethersfield. 291, 384 moving well. Look out for an accident 2 westbound right at the 84 West merge on the right shoulder there. If you're taking 384, you want to get off at exit 1 for Spencer Street, Silver Lane. Can't do that right now. Once again, emergency road work there from an earlier accident. The DOT is working out there. If you are traveling 9 northbound, you've got slow traffic Harbor Park up toward the Aragoni Bridge. Now heading into Waterbury, westbound 84 delays, 26 in Cheshire up to 25. Again, 22 to the Mixmaster. Southbound Parkway delays from 60 in Hamden down into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound slowing 46 to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Increasing quantities tonight. Some rain moving into the area late tonight. Low 36. Then cloudy and windy tomorrow. Occasional rain. High 51. Back to dry weather tomorrow night. Turning out partly cloudy. Low 35. Friday is sunshine mixing with some clouds. Windy and cooler. High of 41. Turning cloudy Saturday. Could be an afternoon shower. The high of 46. Colder weather will return to the area on Sunday. Right now it is 51 in Plymouth. It's 50 this hour in Windsor. 52 degrees in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Bob Larson of the WTIC Weather Center.
O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine light testing program that pulls from over 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASC certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, Eric Hogarth, Money Wisdom. Let's talk about taxes. And what about coming in for a visit and getting some feedback on what your whole financial life is looking like or not looking like? Tune in this Saturday at 8:30 right here on TIC News Talk 1080 and get some help.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text MAIN to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text MAIN to 321-321. That's MAIN to 321-321.
Wesley Financial Group is 1 minute. Share. Don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare option cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Don't forget, you've got to get your chance to be the last but not least caller of the day so that you can win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. I can't give it to none of these guys on here because they've already won. So get on the phones and call 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Let's go to Dave, who's in Brantford. How are we, Dave?
How are you, Reese?
What's up?
I understand you're president of the Chris Murphy fan club, and I thought this would be of interest to you.
Of course.
Yesterday's New Haven Register, there's an opinion writer named Susan Campbell, who is a teacher of journalism at the University of New Haven.
I do know
and
her.
She wrote a piece called "My Love Letter to the Associated Press Style Book," and along the way in the article, she mentions Chris Murphy. Who
Okay.
is fighting off threats to democracy.
Mhm.
Chris Murphy's fighting it. So here's the quote. Our own Senator Chris Murphy is gaining attention as a skilled opposition leader. He did his research in preparation for the onslaught of far-right sewage coming out of the White House, and he's right now one of the most effective communicators out there. And so this is... that's kind of the story. So this is a professional teacher of journalism at UNH, and this is the conclusion that she has come to. And because you're the president of the Murphy fan club, I figured you'd appreciate. Here's a good vice president for you.
You know what?
I'm all done.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. That story reminds me, I hope that kindly, a lot of guys post the things that I say on X. Please post this one. There was a great song by Weird Al Yankovic called "The Checks in the Mail." That article is right up the alley of the checks in the mail. I love that song. Also, by the way, programming note, I'm going to do something that is going to be controversial. For those of you who know Reese on radio from the broadcasting days from 2012, up until very recently, last year, before I started filling in here and then sort of continuing on, we used to do a segment on the show called, well, it was called Nonsense with another expletive. But of course, this is radio. This is terrestrial radio, and we got to keep it clean. We got to keep it family oriented. And so I will be bringing another feature. And those of you who are listening, like Rama, Michael A., Michael B., and Michael C., who are scallywags who are in the chat room, you know I'm bringing nonsense back. Yes, I am, and it is going to be glorious. I'm putting the final touches on the audio, and it will begin on Monday. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. All right, now back to the phones we go. Let's go to, hey, my good friend, Simsbury Joe. What's going on, sir?
Hi there. Boy, you picked up quick. I was just in the middle of downing a nice frothy glass of fluoride mixed with microplastic.
Did you fill out your will beforehand?
Yeah. Well, now I know that our friend Tim is not necessarily Humpty Dumpty on crack. He may be Humpty Dumpty on fluoride.
Yeah, indeed.
So they did prove that it reduces IQ, but you know our state communists really don't care. So
that's so bad that happened.
You and I, I noticed that you and I both use ChatGPT because I pulled down her job description.
Yes.
And analyzing her job description, it's all on the very front end of applicant tracking, applicant recruiting,
Mhm.
figuring out staffing, etc. So I'm not in the camp of thinking that it has to do with any kind of cover-up having to do with existing employees and sexualization.
Okay.
So as I review this, my feeling, and this is just a wild guess on my part.
Sure. Everything we're doing today is speculation.
Yeah, it is since she was describing herself as being so sick over what had happened, I believe that it has to do with the modification of the backgrounds of some of the applicants, potentially the removal of some sort of sexual crime that would normally disallow someone from being in a school system, but maybe the superintendent said, this wasn't forcible. It's one of those things, and I want to forget about that.
Okay.
Because that's based on what I'm looking at in terms of her roles and responsibilities. I wouldn't be so upset if Leslie said to me, and I was in that role, hey, can you modify the data on the number of Hispanics versus blacks versus whites that are applying, or anything like that? It would not.
Because remember,
I'd be mad that I lost my job, but I'm not going to be sick over, oh my God, I did that in a corrupt environment. But I'm going to be sick if applicants are coming in and things are being looked the other way.
Exactly. Because that's the part, again, and you and I are in the same place, because we heard that there are very key moments. One, that yes, that this did make her sick. The other thing is that in her testimony, she says she was at, in this meeting in January, I need you to do me a favor. And in May, when she had become sick of it, this was something she was asked to do repetitively. She was asked to do a lot or on routine. So that in what you just, laid out, it means that this didn't happen with just one person. This may have been if it was one person, this was something she was going to have to doctor in succession, right? She was going to have to do it. If it's one person, she's got to do it over and over again for 5 months. That doesn't make sense. But if she was doing it with multiple people, in essence, if the superintendent was continuously hiring people for the last 5 months in January, and they were all of this suspicious nature, she was asking Janet Serrano to commit these crimes or commit these fallacies in the books.
Yeah, and if it's not sexual related, it is something that would normally disqualify or make a school system look 5 or 10 times at a potential applicant as to whether or not they want them in the system.
Indeed. Yeah, and I know that's my thing, is that there's something in the system. This is a look away thing. You're in HR. You were the one handling the people and the recruitment. It had something to do with the recruitment of individuals into the system. Someone was asked to look the other way on these applicants. Oh, this person's a red flag. Nah, let's ignore that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be sick over generating reports that have false information, even if it was something. Well, she wouldn't be involved with ongoing issues related to people's attendance or anything like that. So it's got to be something upfront in terms of someone's ability to come to work there.
Yeah. And again, like I said, this is just one of those things. The breadcrumbs are there. It's just that you have to listen very closely to what she said, because there are a lot of cues and a lot of clues. And I don't know. Like I said, there's something about that HR part that really, really resonates with me in some way. I'm glad it did with you, because I trust you. I'm sorry, nothing against all the rest of my scallywags, but sorry, Simsbury Joe, you don't fail me, man. You don't fail me. I love you for that.
I try not to.
Thank you, man. All right, let's move on. Let's go to, Fulton is in Waterbury. How you doing, buddy? Welcome back.
Oh, man, that's a tough guy to follow.
I know, right?
Listen, I'm in the same school. I was going to say, I don't think it has to do with criminal arrest of children.
Okay.
She was there for so long. But you also have to look at the time frame. She left at the end of the school year, too.
That's right.
So, and it was ongoing, like you said, right? But then she came back when the school year started again, almost like that. Maybe that staff person left, or they weren't going to have her do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the favor was. Like hiring someone not qualified, like you said,
right?
Not certified, not a degree. That's what I gave it.
Or, you know what? And again, this goes back to that story that Mark Fitch in the Connecticut Insider did. Remember, in his story, he talks about, I don't know if you followed the story anywhere here, but we had him on the show. We were talking about how there were people who were, getting diplomas or people who were getting college degrees, but those degrees meant nothing because these people don't have citizenship. So you're walking around with a sheepskin that you can't get a job for, right? Because you have no.
What about the girl that's still in the school system that
Exactly
illiterate or whatever? I mean, that's unbelievable too, right?
Exactly. So none of these people now the girl Alicia, that's the girl Alicia Ortiz. She's Puerto Rican, so she's got papers. But if there's somebody, if we've got sort of like this sort of funneling system, right, or this conveyor belt, if you will, that we're getting kids who are graduating from schools in Connecticut, and then we're returning those people into the Hartford school system and then fudging their resumes or fudging their information in HR so that they can get employment inside the school as a favor to the superintendent. That's a huge scandal.
I would think so. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it would be devastating. As Janet described it.
Because she was out all summer, so I don't think it had to do with students, though. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
During the summer, there was no students there.
Yeah, but it was January through May, and then, because I think the school year.
The end of the year, May, so May, June, they go into summer break, so there's no kids there. So she's at this point, she says, I'm out. And then maybe in October, when the school, that person's now gone, where they're like, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Pull her back in. And then she goes, okay, thanks. And then she's fired.
The chat room just chimed up. The chat room just chimed up, Fulton, and Kevin L says, what if it's illegal immigrant teachers? Ooh.
It could be. Listen,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, your wife said it best. Anything is possible now.
Exactly.
Right? Anything.
That's right.
Every conspiracy could be possible.
Yeah. Thank you, boss man. Much appreciated. You got it. Let's go to, is this spelled correctly? Cher is in West Hartford?
Yes, sir.
Hi,
Reese.
Cher. Now, Cher, do you spell it like the infamous Do You Believe in Love After Love singer?
No, honey. I spell it S-H-A-R-E.
Oh, excuse me, Cher. Like sharing a glass of wine.
Right. And I wanted to tell you, I came out and met you when you were at the meet and greet.
I remember.
And I'm going there tonight for dinner to have dinner in the igloo. I'm very psyched because the sun is actually not out, but still there, hanging in there. I was on my way and I heard you talking. So and I wouldn't put anything in Connecticut past. It'll be hidden. That's what they do. I was a state employee for 25 years, and I left because it was like too much. I don't have that moral compass. I have one, and it just goes on, and Connecticut's gonna just dig their own hole.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know what? Again, look, if it's going to be devastating, it's, let's just get it out in the open. I hate the countdown till March 18th, but if that's what we're going to have to wait for, we'll wait for it. But I think now that the attention has been given to it as much as we did today, I think there's going to be some people who are going to be calling up the mayor and saying, hey, did you get this email? What's going on? And if we could at least get him to focus on it, maybe we'll get an answer. I don't know. My fingers are somewhat crossed. I have a little bit of hope.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I wouldn't count on it because you're not really from here, right? Or did you?
No, I lived there 2004, and I lived there for a year. But I've always been back and forth. I've always been a part of the tri-state area. So
right. Okay.
Thank you.
I have no faith in it. So all right.
Thank you, Cher. All right. Last but not least, caller of the day is going to be Karen in Southington. Hello, Karen. You, of course, win I'm fine. You win a dozen bagels from our good friends at Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. What do you got as our last but not least caller of the day?
Let's not forget the whole Greenwich situation, hiring practices of not hiring Catholics. And we have never heard anything else since that went down.
Yeah.
And that was more than a Connecticut issue. That was a nationwide issue.
Yep.
And, Connecticut never stepped up to talk about that, in general. Ned Lamont.
We were promised a civil rights investigation from William Tong.
Correct. That is correct. And I think, unfortunately, whatever happens with Hartford, you're not going to hear from Blumenthal, Murphy, Ned Lamont, or Toss. You're just going to, poor Hartford is going to have to pick up the pieces, and no one else is going to take responsibility for it.
This is one of those times, Karen, where I really, really hope you and I are both wrong on this one. But
Well, I do too, because, you know, Hartford already has enough of its own issues, not only in the school system, but everywhere else.
yeah,
And this will just be the end of it. And, you know, the mayor already doesn't seem to want to address many issues. And the same thing's going to happen now if somebody doesn't talk about it.
yeah. Thank you, Karen. And congratulations on your win. We'll put you on hold so Roland can get all your information so you can get your dozen bagels a month for 6 months from between rounds. All right, folks, it's time for me to get up out of here. I've got so much stuff to get into tomorrow, and I will, of course, and thank you for joining us. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. And now let's get a check of your traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, Mark. See you tomorrow.
Hey, good night, Reese. Thank you. You too. Have a great night. 84 eastbound coming into Hartford delays 43 Park Road. You're solid stop and go right down.
All right, good sir.
Westbound
All right.
84 is a little
I
tight.
knew that would take
Approaching
over the whole
Baltimore
day.
Bridge up to 47
I felt
Yeah.
It's 33 down to 32.
All
It'll
right,
be a little
I
slow
will
down
see
by
you
exit
tomorrow.
28.
Tomorrow
Hartford
we got
Watershed Line,
cannibalism.
Northbound 91.
Oh. Oh, great.
Yeah,
21.
why not?
Yeah, but we actually have a great lunch being provided for us tomorrow.
Crews are out there working the guardrail on the
Good,
left
we'll
side.
talk
so
about
left lane
that
shut
too.
down, stay right.
Okay.
All right, talk to you tomorrow.
290.
All right, man.
Bye. All right, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. And a spirited show. I hope we didn't bore you with this with this story. I thought it was compelling enough to cover. So I really, really do appreciate you bearing with me on this one. We'll talk about Tyree, the cannibal, tomorrow. I've got a lot of details about that to go into. There's a story about the attorney or the prosecutor in a Jeffrey Dahmer case. Even he's opining about it on a story like Jeffrey Dahmer, on a story like this one. So we'll talk about that as well. Michael A., thank you, sir. And Richard, thank you as well. We will see you tomorrow. Y'all be good to each other.